sir. Back away from the cardigan, please.
What's up with that?
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
He's the most fiercely intelligent people I've ever come across.
Quatrains. Look it up.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com. Today's guests, ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan, Basketball Hall of Famer Rod Thorne, actor Will Forte, former NBC sports reporter Ahmad Rashad, plus from Showtime's Billions, actor Frank Grillo. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Welcome to this Center Cut edition of the Rich Eisen Show, live on a Tuesday in Los Angeles, California. We are all healthy and well here, thank goodness, and so is our, I guess, collective others, all of our family members. Knock on wood if you're with me. Hopefully, wherever you are taking in this show in a healthy and hale manner, and we are here for you over the next 3 hours. Chris Brockman, Mike Del Tufo, a good Tuesday to you.
What's up, brother? See you, Rich.
Hey, good news just announced about 20 minutes ago in this return of sports world, where yesterday the governor of this great state of California, Gavin Newsom, gave the green light for sports to return in the first week of June without fans, which is fantastic news. Certainly if the NBA wants to return, and you've got two teams vying for the Lawrence F. O'Brien Trophy here in the downtown Hoops Dojo of Los Angeles, California. Also, if the Dodgers are going to be returning to action, potentially in early July, and we'll have Jeff Passan of ESPN joining us in about 19 minutes' time to talk about the possible return of baseball. That's good news. But about 20 minutes ago, I don't know if you saw this, and this is probably good news for those who literally said out loud, here in the Rich Eisen Show studio, off mic, but I'll bring it to the people here, that they're trying to figure out how to bet the hell out of Holy Moly coming up on Thursday night. This is good news for people like, say, you, Christopher Brockman.
Did I say that?
Out loud. Maybe not for an audience, but I just brought it to those people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perhaps great news for you that the New York Racing Association announced the Belmont Stakes will be held on June 20th.
Belmont Stakes.
That's another way to call it?
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Nearly 3 months before the Kentucky Derby, which we all know has been delayed and moved. So that has been announced.
How about that?
The distance has been shortened, though, to a mile and an eighth. It's normally a mile and a half. As you know, it's the longest of the Triple Crown races.
Right.
Because it's at the very end, a big denouement, as opposed to this is the opening foray of Triple Crown racing. I'm assuming there will be no fans.
So
there will be no 100,000 fans
so
in New York City. So the
Belmont Stakes itself tweeted out June 20th without spectators.
There you go.
American Pharoah.
Dan Wolken of USA Today nails it by saying that Belmont is essentially going to be a prep race for the Travers this year. Travers slated for August 29th. That is get this right, a mile and a quarter. So this will be a warm-up for the Travers, and then we'll get Triple Crown racing going.
At least we got something. That's awesome.
You ready to bet?
I am.
Post time?
Let's get Hank Goldberg on the phone.
Hank? Hank, where are you?
Let's go, baby.
Hank.
Love it.
Chris Brockman literally has a baby who needs new shoes.
He does.
Okay.
And Pampers.
He probably has no shoes yet.
Wine.
Does he have shoes?
Oh, he's got
shoes?
He's got a pretty
Nikes?
good collection
He's got them all
already.
Going? Okay.
Air Max Jordan.
Okay.
He's got them.
How's that for news to kick us off today?
I love that.
Okay. On the other side of things, as you know, some NFL teams are being able to open up. Some aren't. The Bucks, as you can see Adam Schefter putting up there today, facilities beginning to reopen today, gradually, slowly, limited attendance, but they begin to open. Rich McKay of the Atlanta Falcons said 15 individuals were in Flowery Branch, Georgia today.
Okay.
That their stadium, Mercedes-Benz, remains closed, though. Tampa, I'm assuming, has not opened for business yet, even though the state of Florida's governor has said we're open for business, because Tom Brady is practicing in a high school.
Oh, jeez.
Get ready, Chris. There's some photography from the Tampa Bay Times.
I
look at
just
that.
looked them up.
There's Tom Brady. That is no Photoshop. That's Tom in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers lid. Avert your eyes, New England. Avert your eyes.
Are you
The
kidding me right
Photoshops
now?
are over. The reality is hitting.
He's wearing pewter.
No, even better. And this might be the quarterback don't touch me color.
Well, now he's wearing a helmet.
But the Tampa Bay popsicle color.
Oh.
The one associated with a one-win team draped upon the coat of New England.
It's so good.
I laugh for everyone else. Okay?
I'm laughing
I laugh
for myself.
for the rest of the nation that does not root for New England. There's a large population in this great country of ours that roots for the Patriots. As you know, TB12 created a legion of fans. Patriots fans travel everywhere. They travel, even though their team had won 5 Super Bowls, they travel to the 6th. They travel as if they'd never won one. They bitch and moan as if they'd never won one when they lose one that could have been the 6th. But hey,
Yikes.
for all of those out there who have been waiting for this moment, I appreciate the Tampa Bay Times snooping some photography of the practice that was going down at a local high school in the Tampa area. That's the Photoshop. That's the Photoshop. Gronk was apparently not out there.
Now, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, Blaine Gabbert among those.
There we go. Blaine's taking some snaps.
According to Rick Stroud.
There it is. The goat in the pewter helmet of Tampa Bay.
And a creamsicle.
And
Are
a
you
creamsicle.
kidding me?
Remember I said the worst thing will be when they put the throwback unis of the Bucks one-win team on the goat. There it is. Look at that Gabbert follow-through. It's even better. It's even better than you think because of the goat's presence.
Wow.
Tom's there.
Look at that Gabbert follow-through. By the way, look at the Gabbert quad.
Yeah, short
Look
shorts.
at that.
Short shorts.
Oh, the Stockton-looking uniform, short shorts right
Blaine's
there.
not skipping leg day. Ugh.
Larry chimed in.
Look at me, Chris. I want you to look at me. Look at me in the face.
This is
I'm
terrible.
the face of the rest of the National Football League fan base reveling in the first sight of a non-photoshopped Brady.
I was having a great morning.
Ready to roll on the Rich Eisen Show.
Rock.
I needed that.
We all did, Rich.
I needed that so greatly. I needed that. What else? Oh, yeah.
Have at it.
The Last Dance, as we all knew.
We're still dancing.
By the way, a huge ratings monster hit for ESPN. Kudos to my colleagues and friends, the worldwide leader. Congrats to Jason Hare. A tour de force
What were the numbers?
through the roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof, as you all know, we wanted it, we got it, they moved it up, and now sadly it's over, and all that's left is the ripples in the pond of the stories.
Yeah, almost 6 million.
They
on
have the
Sunday.
stories.
Wow, that's awesome.
And the stories. Some of them we still need answers to. I intend to get some today, Christopher.
Okay.
I intend to get some today. One of the burning questions, Chris, is who decided Isaiah Thomas needs to sit out the dream team in Barcelona? Who's that individual?
Yeah.
We have the man who drafted Michael Jordan, the man who apparently called up Michael Jordan and asked him if he wanted to be on the dream team. Basketball Hall of Fame executive. His name is Rod Thorne. He's on this program. And then look who's leading off our final hour on NBC, a guy whose name and face was associated with the NBA on NBC as much as Marv. That guy right there, Ahmad Rashad.
Our main man.
He's joining us top of hour 3.
That's awesome.
I want to know answers. And we got some answers from a pizza delivery guy in Utah.
Maybe.
I mean, we want to talk about some serious ripple effect. And by the way, some great friends of the program. Will Forte, who's going to be on this program. Voice of Shaggy and Scoob, which took all of 3 seconds for my children to try and find on Apple TV and buy.
Did they?
Oh, we watched Friday night, sir. I saw Scoob in all of its glory. And look who's joining us at the very end. A friend of our program, Frank Grillo, returns. He's on Billions. Did you catch it yet?
I watched
this week?
yesterday. Yeah.
All righty.
I love him as like artsy, painter guy.
Artsy painter guy.
I love
And
that.
a tug of war between billionaires who want to use him as a toy to troll on each other.
Gives him this huge
Frank
apartment.
Grillo, who's new to Billions. And by the way, Ahmad's daughter kills it on that
She
program.
is amazing on that show.
I
By the
really
way,
am enjoying
Tom
her
Brady,
character.
they're saying his arm looked live. This is not what I want to be hearing today.
Well,
All of a sudden, he's going to look 10 years younger, and he's going to play till he's 50. Get out of here with
The Florida Sun.
dude, why would it surprise you that Tom's arm looked live?
Well, because there was a report that he checked out in 2018 after the Steelers loss, so it didn't seem like Tom was really with it anymore in New England.
What? What report are you talking about?
Greg Bedard said he talked to some people yesterday, had a report over the weekend that Brady checked out after a 2018 loss to the Steelers. Man, knew they went on to win the Super Bowl that year.
What a checkout.
He checked out because the offense went to a more run-based attack.
Are we sure that him checking out can't all just be, or the fact that he checked out and won the Super Bowl, does that mean he got a bad pizza too? That's what happens to all goats, right? Bad pizza?
I don't know if Tom's eating pizza on that diet.
Yeah, there's no way TB12 allows.
Is that what Bad Medicine was about?
The Bon Jovi song?
Yeah. Bon Jovi is going to be on the Voice finale tonight, which I will be
For
locked
real?
in. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll be locked in on that with my children this evening. Oh, man. Brady checked out. Who said that Brady checked out? Greg Bedard is a top-notch reporter.
Locked in.
Oh, by the way, also checking in, when speaking of the Steelers and checking in,
Oh, baby.
Big Ben checked in with a video.
I know.
It looked like he was on a private jet flying somewhere, right?
I think that was, so that video, that was the beginning. That was pre-beard. Then there was beard. He said he wasn't going to shave until he threw with his guys. He threw with his guys full bearded. And then...
So that was post-shave of post-working out, flying home on his jet back to Georgia, wherever he was.
Whatever.
Is that what it is? So, hey, man, he looked good.
Looked good.
He's sitting.
He looked like he lost some weight.
I will say this: check out the video. And
If you're not blocked by Ben Roethlisberger, go to @Steelers.
are you blocked by Ben Roethlisberger?
I am blocked by Ben Roethlisberger.
You are blocked by Ben Roethlisberger?
What'd you do?
I had no idea. I looked yesterday and I was blocked. He has a thing for blocking. You better check yours because
Why would I be blocked?
great question.
By
Not
the
sure
way-
why I'm
by the
blocked.
way, this is big. This is a big moment. Let me just set this stage right here, right now. If I find out I'm blocked by Ben Roethlisberger, that would mean I'm blocked by Big Ben and Antonio Brown,
Uh-oh.
leaving Le'Veon Bell as the only one of the famed Triple B attack.
I mean, tread lightly. So I saw
This is
it.
big moment.
I saw it on @Steelers. It's also I think it's _ Big Ben 7.
Big Ben. Now it's coming up. Does that mean if it's coming up that I'm unblocked?
Yeah, if you're blocked, it'll say you're blocked.
No. But there's the old one right there. There's the Duck Dynasty, Big Ben. All right.
Yeah,
Hold on a minute.
Hold on.
I'm
That's
unblocked.
So he said he was not going to unshave that. He was not going to unshave. He was not going to shave that. Look at that.
Until he.
By the way, that is a
He looks good.
good sort of studly Big Ben in shape, locked in, and I'm saying this right now, hoping I click on this button and I see that I am still able to. I saw the video, which was posted, right? So hold
Yes,
on a
but you
minute.
probably saw it on
This
Steelers.
is a big moment.
Rich.
So it's
Squad goals.
it's
I'm not-
_ Big Ben 7.
Tell me when it's ready for me to. Okay, here we go. I'm going to click on
here
it.
we go.
And
I'll show you.
there's his Twitter page in all its glory.
Okay,
So
ready?
you, sir, are blocked
He's blocked.
by
Wait, hold on, hold on. I don't know what I did. I looked yesterday.
Dude, you've probably trolled 50 million times on him, and whoever handles his Twitter account has seen parts of your activity.
He's blocked.
Hold on, there it is. You can just sit right there.
He's blocked.
Dude, go to sit at your seat, because the closer you walk there, it'll be unfocused. Hold on a second. Sit down.
There's no reason to curse at me.
Sit down. There you go. You are blocked, sir.
I'm blocked.
You are blocked.
You're blocked.
You are snacking.
I don't know what I did.
Okay.
I'll rain down my judgment and we'll move forward.
Thanks, Ben.
He rained down his judgment. You're blocked.
What do you guys do?
So Big Ben is back. We just need sports. We just so need sports. And again, what happened with UFC? There's so much conversation. Will we even know? Would UFC even know? Will they even just say people tested positive?
Yeah.
So NASCAR is a totally different story. And this is big. If NASCAR gets through these races with their protocols and all the people that are involved in putting a race on, and all the people that are involved in keeping the drivers safe, and all the people that are involved in keeping the cars on the road, if they get through these races, first couple races, COVID-free, that would be remarkable. One person tests positive in somebody's crew. They can contact trace it maybe. If they can show this road map to other sports, that would be unbelievable, unreal, and a huge success for everyone. And I am rooting heavily. And again, I can't say enough, as we're showing on the screen right here, explaining to our SiriusXM Channel 211 Dan Patrick Radio listeners, the fact that Kevin Harvick's wearing a mask celebrating is a remarkable example. It really is. And I understand that people politicize wearing masks these days, which is nuts. It is absolutely something that cuts down on the ability for this virus to be spread. Wearing a mask. We're seeing a victory spin out with no fans right here, and we'll get used to it. And the sooner we can get back with fans in the stands would be great. But the example that maybe sports can set, just in terms of testing and showing off how sports are opening up and other businesses might be able to open up, using sports as an example, the same way that sports can bring the country together in a moment of terror, like 9/11, or the way that sports can bring a country together to show examples about integration racially, as history has shown. I mean, maybe sports can be used as a way to show the country how we can open businesses up responsibly and show how tests can be used in a way that, say, anybody else's business could use the tests in a way. Schools, can you imagine? So this is, I honestly don't think I'm overstating how important this all is, of what UFC did, NASCAR has done, and what baseball might be about to undertake. And Jeff Passan's going to join us in about 90 seconds, about 2 minutes, if we can get him on the phone. And it's an important conversation that we're about to have. For all of us, just keep an ear peeled about how much, because I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this. That's what I want to do. Because, and I try to get into it with The Last Dance about how they broke up the team. Like, I want to know, who's the guy who said it's over? Did Jordan ever have a conversation with with Phil? Which I want to ask Ahmad about. Because if anybody would know,
you would know.
It would be like Ahmad Rashad or Quinn Buckner or anybody in the inner circle of Michael, right? Did Michael ever have a conversation with Phil after Phil said supposedly we're done after The Last Dance? This is the sort of stuff I want to know about that, and I want to know about baseball, the exact nuts and bolts of what needs to be gotten done on a game day. And it was a remark, and that's why I loved this man's article about what a Major League Baseball player will go through on a game day should there be a 2020 playing season? Should baseball and the Players Association get through whatever negotiations are going down right now over money? And Jeff Passan of ESPN joins us right now, and his latest article, again, on ESPN.com, is a must-read. It is phenomenal, and that's one of the many reasons why I'm having him back here on the show and why he's kind enough to say yes. How are you, Jeff?
I am well, Rich. How are you?
I am great. Thank goodness. I'm knocking on wood. And you know what? I haven't heard anything lately. We haven't seen anybody on Twitch from the players' side, and I know the commissioner spoke to CNN last week. I think it was last Thursday. We haven't heard anything, and I'm appreciative of that because that's the one thing I've missed about sports is public posturing over a monetary negotiation, and I'm wondering if that's on purpose that we haven't heard anything in the last few days.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that all parties would have learned their lessons in the past. And yet, as a media member, I also feel like I would be biting the hand that feeds me to encourage all people to be quiet about things. In the end, though, the long play, it is better for baseball when people do not speak out publicly about sensitive issues. And that's why at the beginning of last week, Rich, I wrote this week's going to be ugly because they don't have discipline. And the lack of discipline comes from the owner's side when things are being leaked to particular writers, and it comes from the player's side when they're going out in public and answering questions that probably don't help the general cause. So I think they've got all that out of the way, and it is brass tacks time, and let's figure out if they can actually get a deal done to get baseball out on field this year.
All right, so walk me through what you do know about this, even though some people are not talking publicly anymore. What is your ear to the ground telling you about this? Because as you point out, rubber must meet road if you want to talk about getting people in spring training. That was part of your great article, is that some people have said, are we really supposed to be in spring training in just 3 weeks' time, June 10th? Right? So where do things stand?
Yeah, and a big part of that, Rich, is because a lot of these protocols that are in place in this draft document it really accelerate the timeline even closer than that. For example, people need to take an intake screening, is what it's called, before they get to spring training, meaning whether your spring training is going to be in your home city or it's going to be in your Arizona or Florida complex. Everybody needs to show up between 48 and 72 hours before their actual report date. Now, the report dates are going to be a little bit staggered. Pitchers are supposed to get there, and then position players, and then sort of not quite as essential personnel. But the fact that this could start somewhere around June 10th means that guys are going to be getting to these places June 6th, 7th, 8th. It means guys have to get back from the Dominican Republic or from Venezuela or from Colombia or from South Korea or from all these different places around the world. And the logistical disaster that this poses, I think, makes it unlikely that those dates that they've targeted are going to be realistically achievable. But look, then again, you have people who are extremely motivated to get something done. They will find a way to get it done. And that, in the end, is how I see this thing going. As many complications as there are, as difficult as it may be, I still believe right now, maybe not with as much confidence as I had last week before reading this document, but I still believe that baseball will be back this year.
Well, because the point is, and again, we'll get to the document that they sent out about health and public safety in a moment, but we can't go down this road, right, and basically say it's too hard monetarily. I mean, we can't get that answer, right?
We most certainly can, Rich Eisen. I think it would be devastating. I think it would be indicative of some sort of rot inside of the sport that maybe the people don't recognize, but that is obviously there. If they can't, not just at any moment, come to terms on a financial agreement, but in the middle of a pandemic, when tens of millions of people have lost their jobs, when there are lines at food banks and when there are people who can't make mortgage payments. If you're going to lose baseball season because you can't figure out how to split up a few $1 billion, you deserve everything that is coming your way. And I think the everything in Major League Baseball's case here would be the rebellion of a fan base that for years has looked past 1994 and said, we forgive you for your mistakes so long as you learn from them. And this would be a lesson that would show they didn't really learn from them.
Well, there's got to be enough smart people in the room. The commissioner's a smart man. Tony Clark, there must be enough smart people. Boris, too.
It's very funny. It's very funny you say that, because when I talk with people on both sides, I say to them, "Who's going to be the adult in the room? Like, who's going to be the person who says, it's like Ted Turner in the, back in the 70s." And I think it was the 70s, might have been early 80s, but uttered a very famous line. I think it was printed for the first time in John Hellier's seminal book on labor relations, Lords of the Realm. Ted Turner said to his group of fellow owners, "Gentlemen, we have the only legal monopoly in America, and we're effing it up." And I would look at all of the owners right now, and I would look at all of the players and say, "Gentlemen, you have the ability to have a legal monopoly on the entire sporting landscape in America. Do not F it up."
Well, and then in that regard, too, what if... And I would certainly sit there and think this if I'm on either side in that respect, and hopefully that we don't talk about sides, but we will talk about a sport coming together and then figuring out the remarkably difficult challenge of playing in a pandemic. And we'll get to that again in a second with you, Jeff Passan, ESPN senior MLB insider. That what if they decide to throw their hands up and then basketball comes back and then football comes back, and then all of a sudden they're the only ones that couldn't figure it out because of money, and everybody else does. I mean, I would sit there and think that would just absolutely crush. That would be certainly, since the commissioner says $4 billion goes out the window if they don't play at all. Right. So
and that is, listen, these are all great points. They're all very obvious to me and to you. I think it's harder for people who are billionaires, not that I feel sorry for them by any means that they're losing money right now because they're billionaires. I think it's harder for them to stomach this. And I don't know. I look at baseball, Rich, if it loses a season to money, and just have a really difficult time seeing a path forward to prosperity. And I think that owners have to, as the people who tend to be in the game for even longer than the players, owners have to recognize this and have to recognize that no season this year is a bad thing. No season this year because of money is just a self-inflicted wound.
Okay, so let's wave a wand, Jeff Passan, and say they come together, they figure this out, that they're smart people.
Hallelujah.
Okay, then hallelujah. I don't want to give away all the goods in your article, and clearly that's impossible since it was so in-depth, and we have about 10 minutes time remaining here if we can get through everything. But here's the deal. I'd love for you to lay out what a major leaguer would go through waking up on a game day in a 2020 Major League Baseball season during these unique times.
I was going to say, unique is certainly the right way to explain it. And, as I was going through the protocol for the first time, there was just so much information. I'm like, how the hell am I going to lay this out there in a fashion that is not completely boring? And it occurred to me, let's look at what the day of a player is going to be like. and see how many of these different rules affect him. And it's like every single thing I came across, I was putting it in that section of my outline. I was like, okay, going to start, and you wake up and you take your temperature. And then you take your temperature again. By the way, under this protocol, every single person in Major League Baseball will be getting their own temperature. If you don't have a fever over 100 degrees, okay, you get to go to the stadium. But if you're on the road, no taking an Uber, not allowed to take Ubers. You get to the stadium, you have your own special entry. You better be wearing a mask, because the only place that you can't wear a mask is on the field, or if you're lifting weights or doing something strenuous. You walk in the stadium, temperature taken again. You go into the clubhouse, but it's not really a clubhouse because there aren't many guys in there, and you got to socially distance 6 feet. Go out to the field. Most of the batting practice is out on the field because they don't want you using indoor cages very much. You got to, again, practice social distancing. There's no hot tubs. There's no cold tubs. When you're out on the field for game time, for example, no lineup card exchanged. If you're not playing in the game, you're going to be sitting in the stands. 4 seats between you and a fellow player, 2 rows between you and anybody else. During the game, they have asked for you not to be close to guys unless the ball is close to them as well. So socially distanced during the game. After the game, we'd prefer if you didn't take a shower. That's actually the one, Rich, that angers the players the most. The lack of showers after the game will not stand. And it goes beyond that. There's not going to be any buffets. It's going to be all prepackaged meals. Get back to the hotel if you're on the road. You're not going to be able to leave. It's just a lot for players to handle. It's nothing totally beyond the pale. It's nothing that they can't handle. It's just a ton for guys who are so used to being the same to have to change.
What about testing?
Testing's going to be fine. I mean, you're going to be tested a few times a week. They're going to have a lab out in Utah that does the testing. I don't know if you saw the story in the Washington Post today, Rich, but testing, listen, it's taken months, but we are now at a point where an abundance of tests exist, and some states are actually have more tests than they need. So Major League Baseball played the testing thing right. There's been the whole thing at the beginning with the NBA when frontline workers couldn't get tests, but NBA teams could. That's not the case anymore. And so I think the testing part, frankly, is what's going to allow this to happen. The fact that Major League Baseball has the ability to process more than 10,000 tests a week, which is a lot of testing that's being done.
So how often will players get tested, Jeff? I mean, and where? At the clubhouse door or at the stadium door?
Yeah, it's going to be at the stadium. It's going to be a saliva test that gets taken and sent to a lab in Utah, and you will have the results within 24 hours. If there are players who are showing signs and or symptoms, whether it is fever, cough, or otherwise, they have what's called point-of-contact tests, which are essentially rapid tests that return results within 15 minutes. And while that person his or her test results are awaiting, the person will stay in a specifically designed containment area that every stadium will have for cases like that. I'm telling you, Rich, the plan's thorough. It has some gaps in it, no question, but the amount of time and care that was put into it is actually really impressive. And the most interesting part to me, Rich, isn't just that this is baseball. This is the sort of thing that America is going to be going through in the next few months as we reopen. And other workplaces are going to have the same thing. So as crazy as this seems, as daunting as it is to follow some of these rules, this is more, I think, the reality going forward than otherwise.
Hey, Jeff, I was saying before, sports is really what I think crystallized for the country at large.
100%.
Sports is exactly what crystallized the country at large about having to shelter in place. I mean, when the NBA shut down, March Madness was was ended, and so this could be a way to lead to show how businesses can reopen and how we as a country need to realize that, again, even though it feels permanent, this is still something that is just temporary. And the faster that we could figure out how to live in the temporary, the quicker we can get to this being permanently handled. I totally get that. What happens if a player pops positive, though? What is the plan for that? Because we know about asymptomatic, and you want to talk about the plan having some holes. Come on. What I'm hearing is from people, certainly on both sides, wondering if there are some 22, 23-year-olds who feel like that they are, asymptomatic and thus superhuman, that might go out and visit a bar, go out and bring hundreds of more vectors into somebody's clubhouse or, row or seat or something like that, Jeff.
Rich, that's not just possible. That's going to happen.
Right.
Like there's an inevitability to someone testing positive here. There are just too many people and too much money and too much ego and too much hubris to contain people for as long as you would need to in order to create that bubble. And so I think that there's going to be a positive test. The way that MLB's protocol is written out is that person gets quarantined and is going to be tested every day. And when he or she has 2 consecutive negative tests, is showing no symptoms, and has the go-ahead from a team physician or another doctor, that person can return. And that could be as early as 7 days. Now, the typical standard quarantine period we're used to is 14 days, but MLB says that its experts tell them that 7 days with those other things is enough. And I would love to walk around asking people to call me Dr. Passan because I earned my medical degree, but I did not. So I have absolutely no idea whether that's right or wrong, and have a tough time sitting here questioning it.
Man.
What I will say is that I think all of us, Rich, have to get used to the idea of there being some very uncomfortable things in all of our futures. Even the experts, even the ones who do have MD after their names, don't exactly know the way that this is going to play out. They have a better idea than us, but they don't really know. So there are going to be mistakes that are made. There are going to be screw-ups. There are going to be points if baseball comes back at which people think to themselves, should they really have done this? And the answer may well be no. But the answer may also well be yes. And that's what I'm hoping that we can do. Allow this thing as much as possible, as long as large swaths of people are not getting ill because of it, to play itself out, because that's all we're all trying to do on a daily basis.
And you're right. I think the testing aspect is crucial to show that we can do it. And one thing that definitely struck me in your article is that the 26 major league cities baseball is going to include in their free testing people who are on the front lines who may be looking for a test, trying to get a test. Like they're going to share their tests with people on the front lines battling COVID-19 in each city.
Every healthcare worker in pretty much in every major metropolitan area in the United States can get a COVID test for free through MLB. That's essentially what the league is saying.
That really struck me, as well as, they're going to remove baseballs that I guess are at any point put in play, right? I mean, because that would mean somebody would touch it, delivering it to the plate, and then someone would touch it, delivering it either back into the infield because it was hit safely, or to first base. And then that would be, it really is overwhelming, but it's possible. None of it. You sat there saying this is impossible. None of it I read was saying that this is beyond the realm of possibility.
Individually, nothing is impossible. Collectively, it's hard. It's really hard. And some of it, Rich, some of it's overkill. But it's overkill. It's purposeful overkill. It's overkill with the idea that there are going to need to be health commissioners in every city they try and go to who are going to have to say, yes, we will allow you to play. And if you're coming at them with a detailed 67-page, more when it's done, document about all of the things you're going to do to ensure that COVID does not spread around, it's a pretty great place to start just from a moral authority standpoint. You know, we want to do this, and we are going to put our time, effort, and money behind sketching out as good of a proposal as you will see.
Yeah, and again, you know, that I hope, just I guess to bring this full circle here, isn't another one of the hang-ups that's going to go down in the negotiations between players and Major League Baseball. It's just like, no spitting, huh? I mean, am I going to get fined $300 every single time? You know, if ESPN catches me spitting on the ground because, you know, I forget where I am, or things have actually been created in a bubble community so well that the players forget where they are, and they just feel normal. Like, I hope that everyone understands, like, we're putting this on a piece of paper for a reason, and if we can follow this all the way to the letter, we will keep you safe. But let's all just do this, put it on a piece of paper, and then figure it out as best we can to go along, so we can all sit there and see this thing. But then again, I'm not the one who's suiting up. You know what I mean? And that is, I guess, the essential aspect of this, Jeff.
And that's you know what, that's the thing that we have to keep in mind here. As much as we want to say, and as much as people's instincts can be, this is too much, don't even bother. If the players say, we want to play, we want to do this, we're willing to, shouldn't they try to play? Like, I don't know. It just seems like if the players are on board and if the teams are on board, it's a good place to start. And if they're going to do this as responsibly as an entity of their size can, then I have a difficult time understanding the argument saying just shut it down until next year. Why? Because it's complicated? Why? Because it's hard? It's America, man. We love doing complicated things and hard things, and we fail at it a lot, but we go down swinging, and that's what baseball, if nothing else, needs to do this year.
That's the JFK, again, I'll keep saying, I said it yesterday, that we go to the moon, we choose to go to the moon, not because it's easy, but because it is hard, and this is a lot of moonshots right here, from creating a vaccine to obviously trying to return sports. And I think everyone's going to give it a try. I know the NFL's not sitting here thinking in May, we're not going to give this a try and let's figure this thing out, as they're going to keep an eye on everybody else.
I'll tell you what, though, Rich, and I say this knowing that you spent a lot of time thinking about the NFL, talking about the NFL.
Yep.
At the end of reading through this thing, one of the first thoughts in my head was, I have no idea how football is going to come back if these are the sorts of restrictions on a sport that is already naturally socially distanced.
I hear you, Jeff. No doubt about that. You're spot on in saying that, and that's one of the many reasons why I love having you on here. It's a great conversation as always, and keep looking for my texts and phone calls. I really enjoy your work. It's comprehensive, and it's well written, and it's well thought, and you're my first choice. So thanks for coming on, Jeff.
You know what I really enjoy, Rich?
What's that?
I enjoy your hair in The Last Dance. Spectacular. My son looked at it. I swear this is true. My 12-year-old, and he looked at it. He's like, "Is that the same Rich Eisen?"
If that's what your 12-year-old thinks, what do you think my 11-year-old thought? My own son, my own flesh and blood. You know.
Oh, Lord, we got to get those two together and just let them unleash their hell on the world. Because
One day.
if yours is anything like mine, we're all in trouble.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for the call, Jeff. Appreciate it.
See you, brother.
Okay, it's Jeff Passan. There I am right there. I thought the same thing, too. I'm like, if this is all what a sport that's in many ways already socially distant, spread out outside, what are people who've got an offensive line that is right next to each other? What are they going to do?
How about basketball?
I know, that's why.
Dudes literally just sweating all over each other.
Good Lord. But they're going to try.
Yeah, they're going to try.
They're going to try, man.
I hope it works, obviously.
They're going to try.
But,
and that's why, again, baseball, they come on. They got to figure out the finances and then attack the public safety. But how about that? Good news that baseball's finding out And again, what you're seeing, the testing is becoming more prevalent. How many times have I pounded the table about testing on this show since March? Right? So 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Oh, we've got a full house today, 5 guests. We just had one. Rod Thorn, Will Forte, Ahmad Rashad, and Frank Grillo when the NBCSN audience joins us at the top of the next hour. 844-204-RICH, number to dial out there in the wormhole. YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show. All my 454s out there. If you want to dial 844-204-RICH, we're willing to take your call. Chris, our poll question. I know you're particularly proud of it.
Yes.
What do you have over
there? We got
there?
a good one today. Okay. 31st anniversary, Mike. Big 80s movie. I know you love it. Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Roadhouse came out today in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe that.
Wow.
We had Kelly Lynch in here almost 3 years ago. Put that out on Twitter at Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so looking at your most favorite Patrick Swayze movie, there are 4 that we came up with. Roadhouse, of course, Point Break, Ghost, Dirty Dancing. Your favorite Patrick Swayze movie.
That's a tough list. Oof.
Tough list. Can't go wrong with
any of them. Right? Okay, at Rich Eisen Show. Have you posted it? You want me to hit with that with the old retweet?
It's up. Hit that retweet.
It's up and it's glorious. Okay.
And it's good.
Anything to avoid talking about Tom Brady in a Tampa Bay uniform?
Absolutely. I mean, we can break down all the fight scenes in Roadhouse if you want.
All of that.
Which of the dead presidents was your favorite from Point Break?
Do you want to talk about?
There we go.
Come on.
That is so good.
Should I say give me 2 right there? Give me 12? Give me 12?
Utah, give me 12.
Utah, give me 12.
Utah. Speaking of Utah.
Give me those Blaine Gabbert.
Speaking of Utah.
Yeah.
The 15 minutes of fame.
For the pizza guy?
For a guy named Craig Fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, baby. 15 minutes of fame. Sitting home, watching The Last Dance like the rest of the United States of America and internationally. Gentleman apparently sitting there in his home in Utah, great state of Utah, starts watching The Last Dance, talking about pizza delivery, talking about 5 guys bringing a pizza to Michael Jordan's hotel room, talking about Michael Jordan suddenly having food poisoning. Now, we had KC Johnson of NBC Sports Chicago on here saying, hey, we knew about bad pizza about 5 years ago in a book, right? Was written by his trainer. His trainer wrote a book or something like that talking about the pizza being the issue for his flu game. It's now food poisoning game. Guy's sitting at home. He calls up a local radio station. Let me get this correct. We're not going to play the sound, but we'll just talk about it, right? He called up 1280 The Zone's Big Show.
All right. Welcome to the
Radio show.
All right.
Radio show.
Radio show. Radio show. He called Radio show.
Radio show.
It's just called Radio Show. He calls up and he says he made the pizza in question.
23 years ago.
Hold on a minute. Let me get this exactly because I listened to the whole interview. Oh yeah, this is what the pandemic will do to you. You'll listen to a whole 1280 The Zone's Big Show. I wrote it down. It was a thin and crispy extra pepperoni large pizza.
All right.
That apparently, according to Jason Hare, Michael Jordan, upon receiving, hocked a loogie on it. Now, maybe I'm enhancing the story a little bit. He spat upon the pizza to make sure nobody else ate it. At least that's the story that is being told, because we all know anybody who says, who wants pizza 10 o'clock at night? You guys are raising your hands over there.
I'm in.
But let's just say, Mike, you're the guy who has been spinning discs on the internet.
I delivered pizza
for weeks and months and years. Hammered.
Yes.
When was the last time you had a drink spinning your discs?
Week before the Super Bowl.
There you go. It's been a long time. If I told you right now, let's have a drink and spin discs, what would you say to me? What would you say to me? You'd say no.
I would definitely say no.
Correct.
Right,
let's just say some of these guys were like, I'm not hungry and I'm just, It's just I don't want to eat after 8 o'clock. This is what I've been doing for 6-8 weeks. That might make sense. But we all know when the pizza comes and you smell it and it's right there, you take a slice. Why would nobody else eat this pizza? Well, because Michael apparently spat on it. Wakes up middle of the night. He's got something wrong with him. Craig Fite says he was the assistant general manager of this establishment, mere days old, a Bulls fan. Call comes in from the Park City Marriott. They all figure there's a Bulls team that's in there. Maybe this is for a Bulls player. Fite says they didn't know it was Jordan they were delivering the pizza to. Just assumed it was a Bulls player. He was the one who made it, only one who touched it. Hashtag new Pizzagate.
Did he deliver it?
He said he delivered it. Him and another guy. Doesn't know where five guys came from. Just the two of them. And here's the thing I'm wondering. I know it's the 90s, maybe a different time. How the hell were they allowed up? How the hell did they not just say pizza's $50? He said the pizza was $15 and change. They gave him, but some guy came to the door, handed him an Andrew Jackson, said keep it. Handed him a Peter Gammons, said keep it.
Must have been Grover.
Don't know. Said keep it. But this is when the guy takes the pizza, shuts the door, according to Craig Fite, who claims this. Says the door gets shut. He hears somewhat of a commotion behind the door in which he's assuming somebody's coming up with the scratch for the pizza. Open it up. Guy's like, I'm a Bulls fan. Can I at least say hello to Mike, who he saw in there wearing some sort of a tank top or whatever. They were playing cards. Mike waves, says thanks. Door shut. Go back to Pizza Hut, which is what Craig said that he was working for. He said all the windows were open because they were smoking so many cigars that he said that the smell hit him in the face like a shovel hitting him in the face as soon as the elevator doors opened up.
Well, that
so
checks
Mike,
out.
as we know, Mike said every room of his was a smoking room.
Right.
We saw that on The Last Dance.
Yeah, that checks out.
That checks out. Not five guys, just two. Definitely, according to this guy, couldn't have been. It definitely wasn't anything that was placed on it. No, what as a caller said yesterday, no Visine, no nothing.
That sort of checks out with Tim Grover's story because remember he said the guys in the hallway were trying to peek in and see Michael. Obviously not five.
Craig Fite says it could have been the actual flu because the windows were wide open. Although it's June in Utah, how cold is it? You want to look up the old Farmer's Almanac, how cold it was that night? Like, literally, this is how we are parsing the June weather in Park City, Utah. With the windows open. Could be an absolute draft. It's drafty.
Yeah, by the way, in Salt Lake City.
It's Park City, but you could say this is close enough.
It's kind of windy. Anywhere from 60 to 80.
There you go.
Give me a 77 balmy. 3 in the morning.
Well, he said it wasn't 3 in the morning. He said it was right around 10ish. At the time, about 10:30, as it was said on The Last Dance. It was kind of right around that same time.
Could have been in low 60s.
Low 60s.
But he said that he left the store as an assistant manager, freshly hired. That was a risk because he assumed it was for a Bulls player. They did not know it was. So if you think that they purposefully poisoned the pizza, could have been for Scotty Burrell, right? As they were leaving the shop, they didn't know it was for 23 himself, supposedly, until they got into the hotel and somebody said, yeah, that's for Mike. And then they're like, oh,
Michael
God.
Jordan's not leaving
Then
his
he
name.
realizes, then Craig Fite realizes that he has hit the jackpot. And then he knows it's got to be for Mike when a wall of cigar smoke hits him. I'm now enhancing the story a little bit here. But that's what he says. You could listen to it on a radio show. Now, this guy says it on Facebook, and they had him. I have no idea the vetting process at all. And you know what? Doesn't matter.
It makes for a good story.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about a pizza. We're talking about, what, a 23-year-old pizza.
23-year-old
A 23-year-old pizza.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if somebody sent me and it smelled right, looked right,
I'd probably eat it.
I'd like it.
We're talking about practice.
Right.
Not the game.
Talking about pizza, man.
What does Ahmad know about this? That's what I want to know.
He was probably in the room.
Was he?
Yeah.
I can't wait to ask. Point blank, were you in the room?
Here's my question, though.
Ahmad, did you chip in for the pizza? Have you seen Michael spit on food that he doesn't want anybody else to
Jordan
eat?
the pizza hog, like the guy that does that, doesn't give anyone else pizza.
Well, didn't he say that everyone else had eaten and he was just hungry?
That's what everybody said. They were just. But then Jason Hare said he spat on the pizza, which for some reason didn't make the final cut. Oh man! So again,
that's gross. Who does that?
So many questions about the pizza.
I'm not gonna lie.
And then who ordered the code red on Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah.
The Dream Team code red. Who ordered the code red on Isaiah Thomas? Because if Isaiah was ordered not to be touched.
Maybe it didn't have to be given.
Isaiah wasn't even packed. His clothes were all in the closet.
Keep going.
And he wanted to go to Barcelona.
Keep going.
And who ordered the code red, Rod Thorne?
You can't handle the truth.
Was it you, Lieutenant Forte? You, Sergeant Grillo? All right. We got a lot of people coming on this show. And it's the 31st anniversary of Roadhouse. How about all that? Ooh. Your favorite Patrick Swayze movie that's sitting at Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial if you want to have a conversation. When we come back, our friends at NBCSN, they have no idea what's about to hit them. A thin and crispy, large pepperoni pizza with a little extra Jordan DNA on it.
All right, Larry, while the radio audience is away, would you mind reading some lines that we can use for drop-ins for future radio use? Would you do that?
Sure.
Thank you. Go, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
The phones are lighting up. The caller makes a good point. I need callers. Where are my callers? Turn your radio down, pal. You're talking to Rich Eisen. That's R-I-C-H. Eisen. If Belichick's a genius, call me Einstein. Oi, Del Fulo.
It's Del Tufo. You're right. Oi, Del Tufo. Here we go.
What is that?
That's him over there. He's our sound guy that fumbles all the time.
Oi, Del Fufo.
Del Tufo.
What the hell a name is Del Fufo?
Del Tufo.
Oh.
Okay.
Oi, Del Tufo. You're not Jewish. What's the matter with you? You're on the air, Del Tufo. Putting the oof in Del Tufo. Nobody knows anything, baby. Time is a flat circle. Is this segment ever going to end? Time has lost all meaning. I've had marriages that didn't last this long. Don't care. We're going to miss you, Rex. Said it once, I'll say it again. The Patriots are fascists.
That's ridiculous.
Seahawks are fickle, angry birds.
That's it. Larry King, everybody.
Thank you, man.
That's a Del Tufo over there, by the way. There he is.
That is your name? Del Tufo?
That's right.
sir. Back away from the cardigan, please.
What's up with that?
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
He's the most fiercely intelligent people I've ever come across.
Quatrains. Look it up.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com. Earlier on the show, ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan. Coming up, Basketball Hall of Famer Rod Thorne, actor Will Forte, former NBC sports reporter Ahmad Rashad, plus from Showtime's Billions, actor Frank Grillo. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Live on a Tuesday in Los Angeles, California. This is the Rich Eisen Show. And thus we have a mug that says exactly that.
Yeah, we have lots of stuff.
There we go, right there. Rich Eisen here with you, and we're thrilled that you are joining us right here. However, you're joining us on NBCSN from 1 to 3 Eastern every single day. Every single weekday, or Sirius XM 211, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Chris Brockman, Mike Del Tufo, my producer and audio executive, as he likes to be called it, wearing only his free stuff, joining us in his usual spot. Yeah,
Good job, Mike.
Yep. All that stuff you did not pay for.
Nope. Anybody wants to send me stuff, I'm good.
All
I mean, I
know is
respect
that, this mug is was free of charge.
I got one of those too.
Right. And so, hey, we're here, and we've got a great guest list. We got a great guest list in store, and we're still last dancing. The music's still playing in the heads of a lot of people, certainly as we're waiting for live sports to return. Rod Thorne and Ahmad Rashad will join us with Will Forte and Frank Grillo. Will Forte, an SNL alum, now the voice of Shaggy in the film Scoob! ! But I think the exclamation point is silent. We'll ask that of Will when he joins us later on this hour.
Zoinks!
Zoinks, right. Scoob, which literally took 6 seconds for it to, I don't know, my kids, we don't go out with them very much. They're not seeing any billboards. I have no idea how the hell they knew that Scoob was ready for home viewing last Friday, but they did, and it took all of 6 seconds for them to say, we've got to rent it, for me to say how much, and then, of course, hit the rent button.
Yeah. No, you did it.
So I've seen every frame of Scoob.
Well done. Yeah, research.
I might be the only guy in a chair like this on a show like this to say I've seen every frame of Scoob and The Last Dance, and I've got questions about both. Lingering questions.
And Billions. I mean, you're 3 for 3.
I know, and we could talk a little Billions with Ahmad Rashad. His daughter is crushing it on Billions.
Got everything covered.
And Frank Grillo's now on Billions, so we'll talk about that with him. So, hey, congrats, and I'm sure this news is reverberating around the walls of our friends at NBC Sports and NBCSN. We've got a post time for the Belmont Stakes. We've got post time. Let's get everybody to the everybody get ready.
Belmont Stakes.
There you go. The Belmont Stakes, according to our friends in New York, the New York Racing Association said today, Belmont Stakes is going to be held June 20th. There you go. No spectators in attendance. There you go. How about that?
Give me a dozen horses.
Give
me some tickets.
Go.
Let's get some odds, some action. Let's do it.
We've got Rob Riggle on Thursday's show. You were thinking of betting on Holy Moly.
I am.
Right?
I'm definitely betting on
Holy Moly. We had Brandel Chambly of the Golf Channel on last Friday. You were asking him about your Barranco with Dustin Johnson and Rory and Ricky Fowler, and he told you to bet Matt Wolff on the long drive competition. Brandel Chambly actually made you some money. Words I never thought I'd say into this microphone without a single hint of irony.
I won my pool, so let's rock and roll.
Look at that. And I do not condone any of this behavior.
Of course not.
On behalf of the National Football League that retains my services.
Individual sports, Richard.
There you go.
You're good.
And so anything for you, Chris Brockman, and the rest of Patriots Nation to not talk about the reality of what we have seen in the
I would like to avoid that
pages
altogether
of the Tampa
today,
Bay Times.
To be honest, I'm not going to lie. If we just skip right over this story, any visual evidence that goes along with it.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady in an orange Tampa Bay creamsicle orange don't touch me shirt practicing with some of his teammates. And that man who's following through is Blaine Gabbert, who you could see is already vastly improved with Tom Brady at his side.
In the presence
look
of
at that finish.
Look at it.
I've never seen Blaine Gabbert look like that. And look at those Stockton shorts on Gabbert. showing off the gams, the Gabbert gams.
He's not skipping leg day.
Yeah, no.
Maybe he's on the TB12 system already.
Immunity pills.
I told you to avert your eyes. Chris, avert them again. Because Don Bowie's got one more photograph from the Tampa Bay Times putting up there. Our executive producer, executive producing very well. Oof. That is not a Photoshop picture of Tom Brady in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers helmet.
Look at that helmet.
And look at him, hands on knees, making sure that Gabbert receives the snap properly. Look at Blaine Gabbert's hands. I've never seen Gabbert's hands the way that they are right there. Jacksonville Jaguar fans will tell you about this man's hands.
Perfect.
Never looking like that. Brady already improving things. I don't even know who's behind we are looking at right there, snapping a football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But all I know is it's vastly improved.
Yeah, he's better.
Is it off the screen yet so
No,
I
it
can
is
look
not.
at the program monitor, please?
And on behalf of all National Football League fans who do not root for the New England Patriots, a fine organization. And I know I might be treading lightly because my BFF from the NFL 100 all-time team, my friend Bill Belichick, might frown upon such behavior, but I'm trying to act like a professional as I put myself.
I have no explanation for what happened.
The fan bases of 31 other teams in the NFL. When I look at you, Chris Brockman, and I see the rest of Patriots Nation having to see Tom Brady in that helmet and in that creamsicle, not just pewter, it's a creamsicle, don't touch me color. On behalf of all 31 other fan bases in the National Football League, I say the following. Whew.
Having your fun? You feel good?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I do. I feel better. That's our buddy LD right there.
All right, I could say some mean things, but
No. You're water skiing behind 8 rings. You're
fine.
You've got Lombardi's coming out of your ears. You can't hear this. I understand.
It's all good. A lot of parades in New England. A lot of parades. It's cool.
Understood.
Exactly.
Asked and answered.
It's good. But it still sucks. I mean, jeez. Like, come on.
Oh, boy. And I didn't expect it by mid-May. I didn't. I thought we would have to wait a long time for that sort of photograph and photography. Speaking of, look at that. That's the before picture.
I mean, that's just.
I can see. Hold on a minute. Come back to me, Don. I know you need to come back live before you set up the next photograph. That's the before. Let's see the after.
Let's see the
after. Well, that's one after.
That's one after. They're gonna be together soon enough.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of getting things before we expected them, the Last Dance, right? We weren't expecting that to start until middle of next month, right, Chris?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be
after
timed
the
with
after the NBA Finals.
Correct.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get the NBA Finals and then that, and as we all know, Last Dance was moved up a couple months, and Jason Hare did a great job putting it all together. However, some questions still need to be answered. I talked about many of them yesterday, the one burning one being, how did this team actually get broken up? We understand why it got broken up. But what was the actual nut and bolt of it? Because I'm not just buying Jerry Reinsdorf saying to Phil, I asked him to come back, and he said no, and so that was the end of that. There had to have been a conversation. There had to have been a conversation between Michael and Phil. There had to have been one. About, are you really out? Are you out? Are you out? Do you want to be out? Do you have to be out? Really? Because I'd like to do this one more time, as Michael said at the end that he would have done. Run it back one more time. Confident that everybody would have been on board. Scotty, he said, would have needed some convincing. Would have needed some convincing. But there was no, because if there was a conversation that Reinsdorf told Michael when Michael retired for the first time, that you have to have this conversation with Phil before I'm comfortable with you making this official and public. And Phil said, I told Michael, I hear you, I understand, but you're robbing society of a gift, which was a brilliant way to put it. Spot on. Spot on. But that conversation went down. So if Phil's saying I'm out, Jerry doesn't say talk to Michael? Unless he just wanted no business of spending $100 million on 3-4 employees. And this was the last shot of The Last Dance. In Utah, where a pizza delivery man sat at home, former pizza delivery man, sat at home on Sunday night watching The Last Dance and has found his 15 minutes of fame. His name is Craig Fite. That's right, I'm mentioning his name on this program. He went on a, do I say just radio show? Or do I have to? Oh, sorry, it's called a courtesy. That's my bad.
Let's credit.
He went on 1280 The Zone's Big Show, which is a radio station in Utah. He called up and said, I was the guy who made the famed pizza that Jordan consumed the night before a Game 5 in the penultimate Last Dance finals against the Jazz. He said he was the one who made and delivered the pizza to Michael Jordan as it was recounted in The Last Dance to have caused Jordan's illness. It wasn't the flu. Jordan said it was food poisoning, and it was this pizza. And this guy said he made the pizza, he delivered the pizza, and he washed his hands before he made the pizza. And there was nothing nefarious, according to Craig Fite, who was found by this radio show, by 1280 The Zone's Big Show, because he posted on Facebook that he did it. He said that wasn't 5 guys who delivered it. It was just him and somebody else. He was the assistant general manager who had just been hired. He was a Bulls fan who had assumed, based on the address at the hotel in Park City, it was for a Bulls player. Had no idea it was for Jordan until he arrived and smelled all the cigar smoke when he arrived on the floor that he was. I can't believe he was allowed to actually deliver the pizza. Don't you think in this day and age, like if this was LeBron, could you, unless it was a Blaze Pizza, I guess, get to his front door of his hotel room on the road?
No chance.
Do you think?
No.
Don't you think it would be, hey, you know,
the front desk.
With all due respect, Slappy, here's the $20. Go downstairs and give it to the security guard. When the pizza arrives, give it to that person and bring the pizza upstairs. But not back in 1997, in the summer of 97. We're now actually parsing down to what a pizza delivery guy says.
I mean,
well, former pizza delivery guy who claims that this happened.
How badly do we need sports?
Well, this is another burning question to ask Ahmad Rashad. These are my 2 questions. Did Michael have a conversation with Phil before The Last Dance actually was The Last Dance, before they literally broke up the Bulls? 2, were you in the room when the pizza was delivered? Because this guy says the windows were open, and you might have been lying about this whole thing about this pizza because he didn't do a damn thing with this pizza. And he says that Jordan was not wearing a shirt, was wearing a tank top because he could peek in the room. So Michael waved hello. He says the windows were open, and it could have been a draft. Speaking of drafting Michael Jordan, we've got him on too. How's that for a segue?
Wow.
Thank you. It's not my
You
last
are
dance.
a professional, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
Rod Thorne drafted Michael Jordan. What if Portland drafted Michael Jordan? What was Rod Thorne's next move? Also, he was the one who spoke to Michael about playing on the Dream Team. According to both men. Was Isaiah Thomas's name brought up in that conversation? What I want to know is who ordered the code red on Isaiah Thomas? Was it Michael? Was it David Stern? Was it him? Was it somebody else with USA Basketball? Because Isaiah Thomas wanted to be taken on this team. Somebody ordered the code red to not take him. His bags were packed. His suits were hanging in the closet. He was ready to go to Barcelona. And he was not on the manifest. Who ordered the code red? We can handle the truth, is what I'm saying.
We want the truth.
We want the truth. I want answers. I still need answers. There's a lot of questions about this last dance going on right now. I've set the table, man. With the exception of our poll question, which is a glorious and wonderful one. Christopher, what's our poll question at Rich Eisen Show today? 844-204-RICH, number to dial, by the way. We'll take your phone calls. What do you got over there,
31 years ago today.
31
the cinematic classic hit theaters. Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. What's your favorite Swayze movie? Let's get right to it. The 4 big ones: Roadhouse, Point Break, Ghost, Dirty Dancing. At Rich Eisen Show, vote right now.
Wow,
give us
look at that.
I mean, it's not.
Boom.
Look at that. Look at that. Ghost.
Lynch, Sam Elliott, Roadhouse, 31 years ago today.
We've got Kelly Lynch. We've got Demi Moore. We've got Jennifer Grey and Keanu Reeves. That's what we've got on the screen right there. As co-stars.
Fantastic.
Your favorite Swayze movie. 31 years ago today. 31 also the number of flavors, right, that Baskin-Robbins has. 31 also, speaking of something delicious, 31 also the number of other National Football League fan bases. Today.
Great job, Rich. That are laughing.
Looking at the copy of today's Tampa Bay Times, taking a look at one TB12 in creamsicle. Is that a flavor, one of the 31 flavors?
I don't think so.
No, we'll make it one.
We should make it one.
Looking at the already improved throwing motion of Blaine Gabbert. Looking at Tom Brady in pewter in a Buccaneers helmet for the very first time. Whoa. That's not photoshopped. 31 other fan bases in the National Football League.
I think we were talking about
saying, hey,
Roadhouse.
Stead.
Yeah,
hey, Stead, good luck.
We had a great run. We had a great 20-year run.
Dude, no. You can't say that.
What do you mean?
Say that. You're going to go. You got it going. You got it going. You got it going. You got it going.
It's still going?
Yes, you do.
It's not still going because he left.
The hoodie's there.
Yeah.
That kid, that 42-year-old kid that you see in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers helmet, once upon a time trotted on the field. We were wondering, who's this kid?
Exactly.
20 years later, you can't even hear our laughter.
He's going to fit well in the system. In
Never know.
It's perfect.
If Stidham wins 6 Super Bowls, Mike, I will eat every free thing you've ever gotten.
Man, let me tell you something right now.
That would be great.
You would be like, you'd have food for a couple, maybe 10 years.
Come on.
Let's take a break because we've got Rod Thorn joining us coming up next. Basketball Hall of Famer and a longtime deputy commissioner of the NBA and the man who drafted Michael Jordan. We'll go down the old Last Dance wormhole with Will Forte also on the other side of that on The Rich Eisen Show. Okay. All right. Here's what I think what's going to happen here is we're going to get people saying they know more about this pizza.
Oh, yeah, it's going to come out now.
I mean, you just don't know what to believe in people. I mean, this guy says I made the pizza, and he walked us through it. He told us details that we ordinarily you wouldn't think that anyone would know. No. A large, thin and crispy pizza, extra pepperoni.
That sounds delicious.
Now, I mean, extra pepperoni, right? Night before a game. I mean,
see, that could have been bad. I mean, there's multiple things. I worked at pizzerias. Cheese could be bad. Sauce could be bad. Dough could be bad. Pepperoni could be bad. The oregano could be bad.
How many times have you ever gotten sick from a pizza in your life that you can actually you can't even remember it?
No, 0. I had food poisoning from kale that time when I came in here.
I got food poisoning at a Mexican joint in town once.
I mean, it's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened to all of us. Did any of us score 37 points in 44 minutes the next day, though?
No, I just mixed a show with Gatorade.
Did any of us kind of allow it to sit out there as being known as the flu game for 20-some-odd years?
I mean,
although I heard that Ahmad, and again, Ahmad Rashad's on at the top of hour 3. I heard again that Ahmad reported that night that it was a stomach problem, right? Is that what he said?
Yeah, he there was a video going around yesterday that his stand-up from before Game 6 said it was a bad pizza, which I definitely forgot.
All right.
So, I don't know.
Okay. So I'm going to let everyone know how the sausage is made a little bit here. Does he call us or do we call him? Because the last time we had Rod on, as we know, he didn't make his appointed round. So it's one of those things. If you don't mind me having a little bit of a hitch in my giddy up right now, trying to figure out will he be
Rod Thorne? We call him.
Okay. So hopefully Adam will call him right now, a longtime Bulls fan. Won't bend his ear too much about the last dance. He'll just get Rod on, and Rod will hopefully answer his phone and be ready for his appointed round in about a minute when we come back.
Oh, I think he's on.
Okay. This appears to be the case.
Yeah.
We have Thorn. I repeat. By the way, worked with Gary Thorne many years. Susie was on a crew with Gary Thorne.
Gary Thorne,
man.
Gary Thorne's from Maine.
Fox Sports.
By the way, Gary Thorne doing Orioles games last year. You should Google it when Gleyber Torres had a season and a half against the Orioles. Remember that? And he was just like, why are we pitching to him? And then he would hit a home run. Google that. Rod Thorne when we come back on The Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on The Rich Eisen Show. Please dial the number, whether you're watching us on NBCSN or YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show, or listening to us on our daily 12 to 3 Eastern slot on Sirius XM Channel 211. Will Forte, former Saturday Night Live alum, Ahmad Rashad, whose voice we are associated with NBA on NBC and covering Michael Jordan, unlike anybody who's ever really covered an athlete, quite frankly, for all those years. He'll join us at the top of our final hour. That Frank Grillo of Billions will be joining us here on the show as well. But we go to the phone lines right now, and our guest line, where the former deputy commissioner, longtime commissioner of the NBA, and also a basketball Hall of Famer and a general manager of the Bulls at the time who drafted Michael Jordan, Rod Thorne, here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Rod?
Doing great, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm sure your phone's blown up in the last 5 weeks, huh?
It definitely has. Yeah, I've had a lot of calls.
I'm sure you have. I have some questions for you, sir, if you don't mind. I appreciate you taking the time to answer them. First things first, did you learn anything from The Last Dance, Rod?
You know, I did, Rich. There were some clips that I'd never seen before. Knowing Michael reasonably well, I thought that he put himself out there a little bit more than I would have expected because, toward the end of his career, he was pretty guarded, in what he said and how he was, wanted himself to be looked at. And that surprised me a little bit. But I think the basic gist of it pretty much covered him. And it was very compelling TV.
It sure was, Rod. Let's go back to the draft period for you. When you were third on the clock, did you get any calls for to trade the pick for somebody who wanted Jordan? Did you get any calls for that?
Rich, not when we were on the clock. We didn't. We had a bunch of calls prior to the draft from teams who were interested in the third pick. I can assume that they were interested in Jordan with that pick, but there were several teams who were interested. There were a couple of teams that were more interested than others, made what I think people would probably call reasonable offers for that particular pick.
Do you remember the names of the teams? Do you remember any of the names of the teams, Rod, that you thought,
The two teams who made the better offers were Philadelphia and Dallas.
Okay. What could have been? And you just said, no, thank you. what could have been, and you said
well,
no, thank you?
We knew about a week before the draft that Jordan would be available. Portland, in my conversations with Stu Inman, who was the GM of the Blazers, had told me that if Sam Bowie passed his physical, they would draft him. And about a week before the draft, I called him and asked him if Bowie passed, and he said yes. And I asked him if they were still going to draft him, and he said yes. So we knew a week before the draft that unless some crazy trade or something happened, which sometimes does around drafts, that Jordan would be available at number 3.
So was this a time where people didn't lie about their intentions for a draft, Ron? I mean, you took Stu's word for it there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
But, I knew Stu, very well, and he was not the kind of lie or the kind of guy who was, if he told you, he might tell you it's none of your business or we haven't made up our mind yet, but in this case he didn't, and he was telling the truth.
So prior to you receiving this information, or potentially in the event that he might have had his lips moving and it wasn't really true, what was your backup plan at number 3 if Jordan was gone? What would you have done?
If Jordan had been gone, we would have taken Sam Perkins. My feeling, Charles Barkley was in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
And my feeling about Barkley, and I scouted Barkley a bunch of times, was that he was too small to do in the NBA what he was doing at Auburn. And, Sam Perkins had a nice career and was a very good player, but that would have been a mistake.
Well, I'm assuming that you spoke to Dean Smith about both Tar Heels. What was your conversation with Dean Smith about Jordan prior to that draft, Rod?
Well, I had developed a relationship with Coach Smith. We'd go down and watch practice from time to time, and at the end of every year, he would allow me to come in and watch his tapes, where you could scout not only the Tar Heels but also the other ACC teams. And in Michael's junior year, when he came out, I'm watching tape, and he stands out, like a sore thumb, with his athleticism, with how much better he had gotten from the time he entered North Carolina until his junior year. And when I was talking to Coach Smith after watching tape all day, he said to me that, and he would never say it publicly because, that's not the Carolina way, that Jordan was the most talented player that he had coached. And he said he's a really solid, good person on top of it. But he would never say that publicly.
But he said that to you, and how did that land How did that land with you when you heard him say something like that?
Well, I was a big advocate of Coach Smith. I thought he was a great coach.
Sure.
And I thought he prepared his players very well for the NBA. If you look at Carolina players over the course of time, and particularly when Coach Smith was there, most of his players were better pros than they were college players. There aren't many coaches you can say that about. Some coaches get everything as possible to get out of a player when he's in college, and then when you get him in pro ball, they don't improve that much. Most Carolina players under Coach Smith, and I think part of it was the way they played. They didn't put any one player above any other player. They played a very team-oriented game, and they, really delved into the fundamentals of the game, and most of their players became better pros.
Rod Thorne here on the Rich Eisen Show, Basketball Hall of Famer. And then when you and the Bulls parted ways, You became the executive vice president of basketball operations. In other words, the league's chief disciplinarian, just at a time when the bad boys were hitting, and just at the time when people started hitting each other, and just at the time when really things were really getting particularly physical. Did you ever? What was your conversation with Chuck Daly like about his team, Lambier, any of these guys? Did you ever have conversations like Lambier and Mahorn saying, "What is your malfunction"? Did you ever have anything like that?
We had conversations with a lot of people, Rich, as you are alluding to. The game played in the late '80s and part of the '90s was much different than the game today. We instituted some changes during the '90s that really calmed the very, very physical play. You were allowed to hand check. Cutters got chucked all the time. If you drove to the bucket, you probably were going to get knocked down, if not upended. And the game had just got to a point where it was too physical. That strength and power were negating talent. And if you look at the NBA, most people would say the NBA their athletes are as good as any other sport, if not better. And if you are allowing extreme physicality in the game, which we had for a while, that's not a good thing for your game. And it changed with the flagrant foul rules, and then not allowing hand checking. And today it's a free flowing game, much different game than it was in the late '80s, early '90s. But it's the fans seem to like it a lot, and the physicality is not near what it was.
Well, I mean, part of the Last Dance that left so many people talking, Rod, was about the bad boy Pistons and the relationship between the bad boy Pistons and the Bulls, and thus obviously Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. And I want to, I guess, revisit this issue with you, since you were on charge of essentially selecting who played in the first major Dream Team in 1992. How did Isaiah Thomas not wind up on that team? I know you've been asked that many times over the last several weeks, but I'm the first time I get this shot. So how did he not wind up on that team?
Rich, C.M. Newton, who was the athletic director at Kentucky at the time, was the chair of the committee.
Okay.
Russ Granick and myself, because we were NBA people and we were part of the committee,
right,
were asked by the committee to talk with the players who we had a meeting in Orlando, I want to say in early April of 1991, where we identified 5 or 6 players. I forget exactly what it was, but 5 or 6 players that we would, would be essential basically to have on the team. And Russ and I, contacted those people. Jordan was one of the guys that I contacted, out of that crew. And, those people agreed that they would participate on the team. Isaiah obviously was one of the guys that was looked at very closely. He was a tremendous player, one of the top point guards that we've had in the NBA. There were 5 or 6 other guys, James Worthy, Reggie Miller come to mind, Dominic Wilkins, Kevin Johnson, Tim Hardaway come to mind right away. And there were others that were looked at, and the committee, the committee had, on the Olympic team, you've got 12 players, of which 11 were pros. When you pick all-star teams, you've got 12 on each side, so you got 24 players. And, a lot of guys get left off that you could make a great case for. And in the case of the Dream Team, there were several people who got left off, prominently Isaiah, who I'm sure if he had been selected, would have been terrific. But the committee did not select him.
Is the reason why he was not selected that somebody said, I don't want him there? He can't be there because of what's gone on.
Not if you're alluding to a player, no, it had nothing to do with any player.
How about anybody? How about any commissioner?
To me, there were a lot of, there were when the Pistons walked out, didn't shake hands with the Bulls, at the end of the first year the Bulls won, I think it was 92, maybe 91,
yes.
92, somewhere in there. There was some angst, among NBA people about, what had transpired. The Pistons, played a very, very physical game, which upset a lot of people. So there was some angst. I'm not going to tell you that there wasn't some angst, but obviously Chuck was the coach of the team. And although he didn't have anything to do with, with picking other than, making, talking about, he had like 30 players that he felt we should consider, which we did, the committee did. But, no, there was no one player or two players or three players that I've read about who said to me or to Russ Granick to my knowledge, that they didn't want to play with any particular player.
So would you say if Isaiah Thomas shook Michael Jordan's hand at the end of that Eastern Conference Finals right before the Dream Team selection, he would have made it in Barcelona? Would you say that?
I can't say that, Rich, but I think it would have helped. But I can't say that for sure. We had 11 people on the committee. Of which Jack McCluskey was one of, who was the GM of the Pistons at the time. He later resigned from the committee when Isaiah wasn't selected, but he was part of that committee.
And so is that the reason why he resigned? Because Isaiah was not selected?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it sounds like it was an interesting debate in that. Sounds like an interesting debate in that room went down, Rod. To me,
it was very. It was, it was, but it not only was a debate regarding Isaiah, but there was a debate about other players.
What about Christian Laettner over Shaq, Rod? What about that one?
Well, we had agreed, the USA Basketball had asked the NBA if they would put one collegiate player on there because the collegiate players had represented the United States for so many years. And we agreed to it. A long time before Laettner was selected in May of 1992 after the season. Laettner had been a two-time player of the year. He had been a two-time champion with Duke. And the USA Basketball was pushing him because he had not only, had a terrific career at Duke, but he had played for USA Basketball every time they had asked him to play, he had played. Shaq was a younger player, and so Laettner, was the guy that got chosen there. Clyde Drexler at that same meeting, who had obviously had a great year with Portland, and they had played in the finals against Chicago, and he was the 12th guy selected.
Rod, last quick one for you, if you don't mind. Rod Thorne here on the Rich Eisen Show. You must know Jerry Reinsdorf very well, and obviously Jerry Krause was the man who succeeded you in the role in Chicago. A lot of discussion as to whose fingerprints were on the end of the last dance and why the team got broken up. Would Jerry Reinsdorf have ever let Krause do something on his own, or was Krause doing everything that Reinsdorf wanted him to do? Best you could tell.
I think that if you look at the record, you can't argue with the records. 6 championships. I think Krause made one of the great trades in the history of the league when he during the draft when he traded Olden Polynice for Scottie Pippen. Did some obviously did some really good things that helped that that particular group play as well as they did. So he deserved a lot of credit. I don't think he felt he got enough credit. And I think he was looking forward to rebuilding the team and hopefully making it into another, championship type team. It didn't work out that way, for the next 4 or 5 years. And then he was let go at the end of that. But I think he was looking forward to that.
Rod, really appreciate the time. Thank you for doing it. And let's chat down the road. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Right back at you. That's Rod Thorne, Basketball Hall of Famer. Sure sounds like the NBA intelligentsia wanted no part of Isaiah Thomas in Barcelona, and they were doing it because they sensed what the players who they already gotten to raise their hands to say that would be their comfort level. So that's what it sounds like to me. Would have helped if they shook hands, but couldn't even say if that would have been enough. General manager said, I'm not part of this, but the coach said, I'll still coach the team. That's what I just picked up. Let's take a break. The very funny Will Forte will be joining us when we come back right here on NBCSN, YouTube, and Sirius XM 211. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll take your calls. All right, let's take the call of our buddy Jeff in Detroit. And again, if you're on hold, stay on hold. We will take your calls over the next hour here on The Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Jeffrey? What's on your mind?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for getting to me, my uncle. Listen here.
You got it.
I just got finished getting an earful, and that was a very interesting conversation that you had with Rod.
Thanks.
You used the word debate. He used the word scary in reference to, I guess, them coming to an agreement on Isaiah Thomas, yes or no. I just say, man, that's one of the biggest mistakes ever. I guess pretty much on their part, because there's no way that you could pick John Stockton over Isaiah. He's one of the best. But, it is what it is. Listen, I'm calling you because I want to talk about a hidden hero.
Okay.
Kate Upton and Justin Verlander have reached out to help the DPD department, who was hit pretty bad in this COVID-19 situation, with personal protection gear. They got with Ford, and they've been helping us out.
No kidding.
Unbeknownst to a lot of people, though, they didn't want a lot of publicity for it. A friend of mine that works in the police department said that they received a video call from the couple and giving them, attaboys and support. And I find that is just remarkable in this day and time where you have moved on, you got your championships everywhere else, but you didn't forget about where you came from. You heard that people needed help, and you reached your hand out. Not only that, they tell me that a couple of the fellas, when Kate was speaking, one of the fellas was like, hey, tell Kate to move up. We could barely hear her. So Justin says, you know what? Here, let's do this. He moves out the way and just puts her in front of the screen, and everybody starts cracking up. Like, I know you guys don't want to hear me. Here's my wife, and it's the funniest thing in the world. But just big ups to Justin Verlander and just looking out at this time and being, just doing those humanitarian efforts that need to be done.
Jeff, thanks for passing that along. Appreciate it. That's Jeff in Detroit. Kudos to Justin Verlander and Kate Upton. And we all understand that Kate is Justin's much better half, and the reason why is because she loves the University of Michigan. That's a fact. Appreciate that call on the Geico fan line right there. Though they're apart these days, we're sharing more, and Geico would just like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves, your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync start. Now Geico wants to share too. It's their turn with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. And because Geico's committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for info and eligibility. Check out the Rich Eisen Show on demand on Podcast One. All 3 hours of our show can be downloaded at will whenever you would like to listen to the show. Podcast One, podcastone.com/Rich Eisen. Listen and please subscribe. Also hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page. We greatly appreciate that. Speaking of Will, how's that for a segue? Waiting here on the Rich Eisen. I think he is truly the only person in the 5+ year history of the show, and we had human beings who were coming in here, and we can't wait for the next time, to do this show and then go right to a waiting plane at the Los Angeles International Airport that's about 3 minutes away.
You're probably right about
I forget what he was promoting at the time. Maybe Last Man on Earth, right?
Man on Earth,
Right, which was a great show on Fox. Now he is the voice of Shaggy. You bet he is. In Scoob! Exclamation point. That my kids insisted that we watch on Friday night, and I watched every glorious frame of this. I guess that makes my children those meddling kids. He is Will Forte. How are you, Will?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I love chatting with you. I'll just say that right off the bat.
Well, I love chatting with you. That's so funny. You made my plane trip seem so much cooler than it was.
Well, let me add about the last plane trip that I took with you, Will, if you don't mind me saying. It was on the way back from the Big Slick when you were passed out the whole way because I think you did karaoke up until the time we took off. Will?
Oh, yeah. Well, if I'm going to expend all of my body's energy resources on anything, it's going to be karaoke.
I was going to say that to my kids, hey, for daddy points, the voice of Shaggy, I watched him passed out an entire flight home from Los Angeles to Kansas City.
It was a good passed out. It wasn't like a sad passed out.
No, it was not, by the way. I've got to tell you, you understand the voice of Shaggy and the significance of this role in pop culture history. And how did you take this one on, Will? This is big. This is big time stuff, sir.
It was terrifying. I got to say, it was. Yes. What an honor to be asked to do it. But there are some big shoes to fill. Casey Kasem was an icon, and Matthew Lillard was awesome too. So it was scary, but it was fun to do.
And did you how do you do you download previous episodes, or how does one prepare for the voice of Shaggy?
Yeah, I just studied a bunch of stuff, but my studying something. I remember I did Beer Fest. And I had to be a German guy in Beer Fest, and I studied an audio, like a CD on German, like the first year German studies, and then also a specific thing that was how to speak with a German accent. And for like a month I did this, and I still went and did Beer Fest and sounded way more Chinese than German.
So you're saying you do a better Shaggy than you do a German Beer Fest guy.
That's just saying as much preparation as I can do, it still sounds like what it sounded like.
My kids loved it, man. We did. The whole family did. It was great. We spent the whole Friday night watching.
It's a fun movie. There's so much going. It's all these awesome Hanna-Barbera characters that I grew up loving. It was really fun to be a part of.
I know. It's just like, I don't know if I was dating myself to tell my kids, I know all about Captain Caveman. I know all about Dino Mutt. They were very excited at Ken Jeong because they're big Masked Singer people. Hearing Tracy Morgan as Captain Caveman was a phenomenal twist on the character, I think.
Oh, yes.
Will.
He is the funniest guy. All those guys, so many funny people in this movie. But Tracy Morgan, geez, that guy just is so funny in everything.
It was great. It really, really was terrific. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
You got it. So you're still, I imagine, a diehard Raider fan. Is that would I be assuming properly?
Well, my status is in question right now. They're obviously everyone knows they're moving to Las Vegas. I as a person born in Oakland,
yes,
that's tough for me to take. I feel like the fans in Oakland were very loyal, and it is upsetting that they're leaving them.
So, you are just on it. You're not going to follow them to Vegas? Will?
I don't know. No, I'm not going to.
Did you just make that decision live on the Rich Eisen Show?
No, I've been leaning towards it. It's been very upsetting, but I don't know what. Okay. You don't just switch allegiances to another team. So
right.
It's more just that I would become anti-Raiders.
Okay.
And just root for anybody who was against them, but
right.
I don't think I have that in me either. It's like they've given me so much pleasure in my life. It just will never be exactly the same. So I don't think that I'm just trying to figure out what it is in my head, and I don't know that I'll know until I see them playing in Vegas.
Right.
I don't know how it's all going to shake out.
So you're fine with it?
Yeah. As of now, I'm upset with them because I just feel like all these people so many great Raiders teams over the years, but then let's be honest, there was a stretch where they were not great, and I felt like the Raiders fans hung in there with them and packed that place and were great fans, and then all of a sudden, they moved the team.
So are you upset the Warriors moved to San Francisco then, Will Forte?
That's close enough for me. That
all right.
I mean, yeah, I want everybody to stay in Oakland. Yes.
Why not? I mean, you got as long as you're asking that sort of thing, you should be able to do that. Yeah. I'm wondering if I could put you on the spot for some comedy, Will Forte. I'm wondering if I could. I'm wondering.
You're hard up for comedy.
No, not here. Well, look, we all need a laugh. We all need a laugh, and you can provide these things. But I'm going to put you on the spot for some comedy.
Okay.
You've been to the Black Hole, I assume, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have voiced Shaggy in Scoob! Exclamation point. Which, by the way, is that a silent exclamation point, or do I need to say Scoob when I say it?
I think you have to enunciate the excitement.
Okay, Scoob! You have played Shaggy in Scoob! Okay.
Yes.
Can you describe a Black Hole experience that's using the voice of Shaggy? Can you give me your favorite Black Hole memory in the voice of Shaggy, Will Forte? Would you mind doing that for me? Can you do that?
Zoinks! I don't know that I could. Oh, geez, I haven't done that voice in a long time.
Oh my God! It's not like riding a bike. You've got to really.
You got to, as I said before, even when I was doing it and I was studying it, it still was hit and miss. I will say that I got a chance to go into. It wasn't. I was. I've definitely been in the Black Hole several times. I somehow made friends with the Villapiano's family. Phil Villapiano, his daughter Andrea, and their sons, and so getting to walk around Oakland Coliseum with royalty like that was so much fun, and I got to hang out with Phil and Franco Harris, who are good buds.
No kidding.
And I think they inducted Franco Harris into the Hall of Fame, into the Black Hole Hall of Fame.
Oh, I didn't even know that sort of thing, Will Forte, would actually exist. So
I got to watch that happen, and I think I might have even gotten to introduce. I got to be like part of the undercard of that announcement. Like, oh, and here's. Now nobody cares, but here's Will Forte to say a few words, and then I just said as few words as I could, and then led over to them, to Phil saying something about Franco, and they went nuts as they should.
There you go.
He was such a sweet guy, and people were really as they should be, very respectful.
So did we just determine that it's easier to do a German accent on the spot than the Shaggy accent on the spot for you?
It is very much easier. that actually, for me, sounded as pretty German.
Now,
without the use of uns, like uns, and a th, which turns to a z.
Now, would it have been better if Tom Brady had signed with the Raiders? Would you have followed them to Las Vegas if Brady had actually signed with the Raiders? Will Forte?
No.
Not even that?
That has nothing to do with it.
Wow. Okay. You're open.
I mean, I like all the storylines. Don't get me wrong. I'm so excited to see what happens at Tampa Bay for him, and it's I'm a fan of football,
right?
But I'm a diehard Oakland Raiders fan. Oakland Raiders.
There you go.
So but we'll see. Changes happen. You got to adapt to change.
Right.
So I just it's been thinking about it in a hypothetical sense. I haven't had to see the actual reality of it yet.
So so it's not easy to do a Shaggy on the spot. How about Casey Kasem long distance dedication to an Oakland Raider fan from Las Vegas?
I'll see what I can do.
Sounds like
that's the thing is that Casey Kasem, basically the Scooby voice. Scooby voice is just basically Casey Kasem raising his voice up to the. But I just couldn't. For some reason, I was closer on the actual bottom rung, the low tone of Casey.
Yes.
And then when I would try to raise it up, it just wasn't the same.
The vagaries of voice work, man. The vagaries of voice work. Hey, man, I've done voiceover work with you for 22 Jump Street.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. I still get my 5-cent residual checks. Are yours more than 5 cents? Tell me. Did they pay you more than they paid me? It's okay if they did.
No.
Okay.
Favored nations.
Hey, it was great to chat with you, Will. It's been way too long. My kids and I, we loved Scoob. We loved it. Available now on digital, released on Friday, and people can go get it. And it was amazing. So congrats on that,
Thank you.
brother.
It's really good to talk to you. I can't wait to see you in person.
Right back
Hopefully,
at you.
back on one of those big slicks.
No doubt.
So
me too.
hello to everyone at Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City and everybody in the country and the world.
You are the man, Will. Thanks for the chat.
Good talking to you.
You got it. That's Will Forte. You're on the Rich Eisen Show. Love that guy. How funny is he?
The best.
I mean, and he's funny, like waking
All the
up.
time.
Waking
Exactly.
up.
Yes.
Because you've seen his work behind the scenes at Big Slicks and
in person
at the charity event in Kansas City.
Been at those karaoke late night.
Oh, my gosh. Rudd and Stone Street, Keckner, and our friends Jason Sudeikis and David,
And Riggle.
who we're going to have on Thursday.
The best.
When we come back, Ahmad Rashad will join us. Oh, lots to talk about with this man who was all over the Jordan era on NBA, on NBC. If we could only play Round Ball Rock without getting sued.
I know.
Okay, and Frank Grillo will join us from Billions. And Ahmad's daughter's on that show. That's how we're rolling in your phone calls at 844-204-RICH, Hour 3. Now, you told him about how you are the Bill Walsh of audio executives.
Exactly,
You can't screw these up. Your favorite catchphrase from the original Predator. Go ahead, here's one.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
All right, that's number one. Here's number two.
Okay.
Get to the chopper!
Can't hear them at all.
Okay.
You can't hear them? Cannot hear them. Yes. I'm just.
You can't hear them.
So what I'm gonna do? I'm doing this blindfolded. Wait a minute. The sound. Wait a minute. Did Bill Walsh not have the volume up? Did the Bill Walsh of sound engineers not have the volume up for the segment?
Oh my God!
Oh
We can
boy,
kill it.
this does not bode well.
Can you go? There's a method to his madness. Do you want to try one more time now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, man. Here
bleeds, we can kill it. Okay, if it bleeds,
we can kill it.
Okay, here's the next one.
Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper.
And here's the other one.
One ugly mother.
Okay, there's that one.
Okay.
Start, bench, cut.
All right, get to the chopper, gets cut. Because it's only an incidental line, and the only reason we remember it is because he's Austrian. If anybody else said, get to the choppers, it wouldn't have been a line. It wouldn't have been a line. It's only because he's Austrian. Cut. It's superfluous. We're gonna bench your one ugly MFer. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Because it's a succinct line, and it's done in a very naturalistic way. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Very well done.
That's just
Now, for everybody else who comes in here on the Rich Eisen Show,
the
we're going to
benchmark.
show
I'm
them.
setting the bar here.
We're going to show them this start, bench, cut because you have raised the bar, Keegan.
Setting the bar right here.
We're gonna edit out Del Tufo
just gonna
messing up
say-
the audio. We're gonna edit that out.
Can you edit that
We're gonna edit
out?
that out.
No,
It's too good.
Perfect.
me, sir. Back away from the cardigan, please.
What's up with that?
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
He's the most fiercely intelligent people I've ever come across.
Quatrains. Look it up.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com. Earlier on the show, ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan, Basketball Hall of Famer Rod Thorne, actor Will Forte. Coming up, former NBC sports reporter Ahmad Rashad, plus from Showtime's Billions, actor Frank Grillo. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Final hour of this program, Rich Eisen Show, social media grandmaster TJ Jefferson just had his first three-peat in the history of our show, in which he's opening up every single hour, making a putt. And I guess, this is all about three-peats with The Last Dance, right? So we just had. Does that mean we have to break up T.J. Jefferson's putting?
Done.
Is that
but
what that means?
We're not going to tell anybody exactly
it's
why
over.
we did it.
We're not going to tell anybody why. You could just assume why we did it. We hate each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
deep down. I mean, it looks like on NBCSN and YouTube and Sirius XM and all those years on Audience that we get along.
That's funny.
But we genuinely dislike each other. Correct?
Who's the Krause here then?
I guess, is that me too? Because I put this team together.
Yeah, I mean, Rich.
I put this team together.
That's true. That's
you're Reinsdorf, Krause, Jordan. You're the. I mean. I'm the Jordan. No,
oh, my God.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Welcome to the Mike Del Tufo Show, final hour. What in the world is happening? We had Rod Thorne on in the first hour. Great chat with Will Forte. Frank Grillo of Billions is going to be joining us shortly. And I guess that's a perfect segue because his daughter kills it, crushes it on Billions. Amazing. And we figured let's have him on with The Last Dance on everybody's mind, on everybody's lips. Everybody's wondering what we saw and what else was there. And let's get Ahmad Rashad on because I don't recall anybody covering an athlete and an era and having a catbird seat position quite like he had on all those years on the NBA on NBC. And he's kind enough to call in the Rich Eisen Show. How you been, Ahmad?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Rich, how are you?
I'm better for talking to you. That's
fantastic.
You know what?
Hey, so wait a minute.
Yes.
Did you hear? I heard the introduction,
yes.
And I was like, NBC former something. I played football.
Well, Ahmad, right on our screen right here, it's not underneath former NBC sports commentator. It says 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver with Vikings. I know.
That's what I'm talking about. That makes me feel, when you get old, you need that stuff.
Should we have a last dance on the Vikings, on your Vikings, Ahmad? What would that look like?
No. It's just that. It was one of those things where my daughter at one point came home from school and said, "Hey, there's a kid at school that wants your autograph. He said you played for the Vikings. Did you?"
Come on.
No way.
Come on.
I swear. It was like, okay, maybe I tried too hard to make people forget.
Did your daughter not know you were 4th overall pick in a National Football League draft? Ahmad?
No clue. And if she's listening now, it's probably the first time she's heard that.
No. Is this the same daughter who's killing it on Billions right now, Ahmad?
Absolutely.
She's dynamite, man. She is dynamite.
Oh, thank you.
In that show. Just dynamite. And I guess this is a good segue. Do you think Jordan would have respected you in the manner that he did if you weren't a former athlete coming to him, Ahmad?
No, I don't think so. And you know what, Rich? I think that a lot of the guys would have felt the same way. It's because NBC had not been doing basketball. Then all of a sudden we got the franchise to do basketball. And the guy that they sort of put in from NBC to put in place at the NBA was me.
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to do things to show that we were knowledgeable about basketball by doing Magic Johnson's Midsummer Night's Dream. We did that just to sort of introduce ourselves to those guys. But I always felt like I got the same sort of reception from all the players.
So when was the first time you met Jordan? When was the first time you met him, shook his hand, covered him, or something like that?
Yeah, the first time I met him was at that Midsummer Night's Dream game out there in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had that was a time where guys would play in these All-Star games during the summer, and it was a real game. It wasn't like they were out there like Globetrotters or something. They actually really were playing with egos involved. So that was the first time I had met him then, and we just sort of met after the game, talked, and exchanged phone numbers, and saw the rest in terms of how our relationship developed. It developed from that.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that anybody learned from this documentary is that anything that Jordan ever played in wasn't just a regular game, right? I mean, that was a real, that's one thing that I'm sure if anybody needed to be introduced to Jordan, and there's a whole generation that did, they just learned that. And I've asked this question of every single person who we've had on this show that either appeared in The Last Dance or has a working knowledge or having covered or is friendly with anybody on the team. I asked this question of you too. Did you learn anything from The Last Dance, Ahmad Rashad?
No, I didn't. I didn't because I think, it's like you said when you introduced me, I had a catbird seat to all of it. And it was one of those different sort of, I've never sort of been in a situation where I had sort of free access to the locker room, to the training room, to their buses, I was just there. So I got a chance to see a lot of those things. But, as a former athlete, I sort of knew about a lot of them too. This was just a little bit closer because there wasn't that many people. But no, I didn't see anything that surprised me. I was glad that people got a chance to see the human side of Michael, and you see how competitive he was and how demanding he was. And I think what I take from that is, if you think Larry Bird wasn't like that, and if you think Magic Johnson wasn't like that, then you're not really thinking the right way. So it wasn't just Michael that was just, win at all costs, put your foot on the guy's neck kind of thing. All these guys were able to do that, but Michael, what separated him was his athletic ability was way above anybody's at that point. So that's, what you saw. But that hard driving leadership thing, I think Magic had that, and I think Larry Bird had that. And there's a lot of guys you can sort of go through the league that had that same sort of lust for winning.
Well, we had Shaq on yesterday, Ahmad, and the sweetheart that Shaq is, and I enjoyed seeing on Twitter this past week of him breaking a backboard on Inside Stuff with you. It was great seeing that from back in that day. A nice little stroll down memory lane there. We had the sweetheart Shaq on yesterday, and I asked him about the subject of Jordan's demeanor and his hard driving, that some of his teammates would grind his gears, and he was insulted. He's like, "You don't think I was that way?" I mean, that's exactly what he said when I brought that up with him.
Yeah, and it's in all sports. When you see guys that you see Tom Brady who smiles and looks like such a nice guy, I guarantee you he is riding them dudes to death on a weekly basis. That's just the way that is.
So now, Ahmad Rashad here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's the scoop with the pizza? Were you in that room when the pizza arrived that night, Ahmad? Were you there?
I was not in the room. I was on the phone, and I knew the pizza had come over. I knew he was eating pizza, and then I knew a few hours later that he had gotten sick.
Okay, so
I knew all that.
You were on the phone when the pizza arrived in the room.
Yeah,
is what you said.
They were getting ready to eat. They were just kind of messing around doing what they're doing, and they were just getting ready to eat, and the pizza came, and we got off the phone, and that was it. Then I found out about 4 hours later that he was sick as a dog.
He called you to basically say, "I'm sick"? He called you?
Well, no, it wasn't him calling me. There's George Kohler. I spoke to George Kohler.
Right.
And George was in the room.
See, now, did you know at the time that it was pizza? Why did we wait? Why did it take 20 years for much of the free world to learn this was a stomach bug or a food poisoning situation?
I don't know. Every time I used to say I'd read something and say it was the flu game. And I'd say, he didn't have the flu. He had food poisoning. I never paid any more attention to it than that. But I remember, isn't that game always referred to as the flu game?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't remember no flu. I do remember if he had the flu, then how was he playing the piano and doing all that stuff after the game? So I don't think that was it at all.
So, I mean, as always with Jordan, there's always some sort of, one would say a conspiracy theory that he was actually out at night and that he was doing something that he shouldn't have been doing, as opposed to eating the pizza. But what did you report the next day?
I report that he had gotten sick. He had eaten the pizza and he had gotten really, really sick, and he was throwing up and all that kind of stuff. And the funny thing about it is once he started to play, because he kept saying, "I'm going to play." So I said, "Yeah, he's going to play." And I remember them always coming down to me as a sideline reporter and said, "Give us a report on Jordan." So I say, he's sick. He's sick. He had food poisoning. He's sick. And about 5 minutes later, said, "Give us another report." I'd say, "He's still sick." And then 5 minutes later, said, "How about another report?" "Yep, he's still sick." So it was one of those things where it was, what else can I say?
Ahmad.
Let's go down to Ahmad. What can I say?
Right.
All I can say is he's sick.
Well, now, I mean, it's just, you want to talk about a unique situation. I mean, you got access to easily the most famous person on the planet, most famous athlete of his time, still one of the most famous people on the planet. You had all that, and then I'm sure there was things going on that you couldn't report on. And what was that balancing act for you, Ahmad?
I never, the things that I was going to report on had to do with basketball. So I never thought like I was holding secrets or anything like that. I mean, my job was to report on the game, report on things that were happening that way. I never even thought about, there was no investigative reporting going on, and there was no reason for that. The other part was just friends. We were just friends, and it wasn't, like you're sneaking around and saying, what was that? Who are you talking to? None of that ever went on. And I think that, because of his stature and the mystique around him, that there were so many theories. I think you mentioned this earlier. There were so many theories that we would laugh at. It's just crazy stuff. But I guess they could say whatever they wanted to, but it certainly was not my job to report that.
The only other person,
or even report on it.
No, I know. The only other person that I would know that had great access and became friends with Michael was Stuart Scott. Do you have any good stories about Stuart being around or anything like that, Ahmad?
Oh man, I know you love Stuart. I love Stuart too. What a wonderful man. He just was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun. He was always up. He always had funny things to play, and it was like he was just one of the guys. He was one of the guys that Stuart would call. He'd be able to call and ask whatever he needed to ask or whatever it was. So it was a very good relationship between Stuart and Michael also.
Yeah, I know.
But Stuart was also reporting things on. His angle was different than mine. He was doing sports news and doing things like that. I was just reporting on the game.
Right, and then how real is the Isaiah stuff, Ahmad? Is that reason why he wasn't on the dream team?
I think that he was very upset when Isaiah walked off the court. And let me just move on and tell you what happened with Karl Malone.
Okay.
When Karl Malone lost that final game, I remember I just could come out of the locker room and I walked over to the Bulls bus. Karl Malone was walking up the bus, congratulating everybody on that bus, on the Bulls team. Just one of the greatest acts of sportsmanship that I've ever seen. And nobody ever said anything about it. That was Karl doing it from his heart. And, you got to realize that was the second time he had been beaten by him. But I remember watching him walk up on that bus and going through the bus just, telling everybody congratulations, great game, all that kinds of stuff. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, we saw that.
I never reported that.
Yeah, we saw the video of that on The Last Dance. I saw that. Maybe Karl just knew what happened to Isaiah, and he better shake Michael's hand, and he didn't do it on the court, and he went to go find him because you know what happens. You don't want to be out. You don't want to be out. You don't want to be out forever.
Yeah, well,
could have been that.
Karl Malone's the guy that don't worry about stuff like that.
I guess so.
I think, yeah, because he's so big. But I think the thing with Isaiah, because they had such a rivalry with Detroit. And the fact that, they got to the point where they had those Jordan rules and all those kinds of things, I think that sort of built up a little bit of pressure between them. But as it stands now, I don't think Michael cares much about that. I mean, he says that Isaiah was the second best point guard to ever play in the league. Tremendous respect for the guy. But, you don't have to be, bosom buddies, but he certainly respects him 100%.
I got to tell you, I want to see one more episode of The Last Dance, Ahmad. And here's what I want to see. I want to see only the moments where the director, Jason Hare, handed Michael an iPad for him to see what has been said about him and his reactions to it. That's all I want. The whole episode. And also maybe a camera funny. Or maybe a camera on every single person that knew they said something about Michael in their house, watching Michael get handed this iPad, nervous that they're about to see themselves on it. That's what I want the last episode to be.
That would be great because, he didn't hold back.
No. Gosh, no.
He did not hold, he didn't hold back. Some of it shocked me. It was like, whoa, did you really say that?
So maybe you did learn something. Maybe you did learn something from it that he would.
Well, I learned that I already knew what he said, but I was like, you just really said that, huh? Okay, I guess you know what you're doing. I think it's one of those things where Michael's always said, I've had this tape for a bunch of years. We're going to let it out, and that's it. I'm not going to do any interviews about it. I'm not going to talk about it. He's tired of seeing it now. It's like one of those things where, here, you guys look, and you make up your mind, and that's it. I'm not going to stand up and explain any of it. That's just it.
Well,
and I think that's pretty cool.
Well, that's one of the last two questions I want to ask you, Ahmad, is why? Why do you think he finally decided to say, okay, let's do this? Why do you think he gave this a green light?
I think part of it was as hard as he drove his teammates, he loved each and every one of those guys. And it was it was a story that needed to be told. And the only person that could tell it was him. So he was the one sitting on the tapes. If he wouldn't have said you can release him, we'd have never saw it. So I think it became time. He became far enough away from it that it was like, okay, here, let's take a look at it. And that's it. Because I think he enjoyed watching it also. But I know that he's not going to answer any questions. We watch it together and laugh. I mean, there's so many, you know how you do when you watch something that you saw it before and you start pointing out different things and just laughing, and it's been a lot of fun, like a high school reunion, kind of, I guess.
So are you saying you watched it together with him or you'd call him up?
Yeah, we sit and Sunday nights we sit and watch it. And we laugh at the stuff and remember the stuff and remember different players like, hey, remember that guy? That dude was tough. He could really go to his left. Or remember that guy? He did this and that and the other. Or whatever happened to that guy? Stuff like that. So it's just all in fun. It's not anything more than that.
So that's
a little bit of tequila, little bit of tequila as you're watching it. Have a good time.
Okay, but nobody ordered a pizza though, right? Ahmad, nobody ordered pizza.
There will be no
more of that.
No one will be delivering pizzas.
Okay. Yeah, just making it yourself. Okay. So then I guess the last, how about that? Okay, so you were, I guess, Jordan sheltered in place and you go over or something like that? Is that how you would watch this?
Well, we live right down the street from each other, so we've all been sheltered.
Okay.
We've been on this, we've been sheltered for the longest time. So,
right.
That's that's been one of our Sunday night things is to go watch the thing.
Well, that's me. I watch it with my wife. You watch it with Jordan. That's the way you're rolling. Okay. Last question for you, Ahmad.
You're having the better time than I am.
Okay. Last one for you. Last one. Did Jordan ever have a meeting with Phil after the final season to say, are we done here? In the same way that Reinsdorf said to Michael after he retired the first time, this is not official and not public until you have a conversation with Phil, please. And then they did, and then they, obviously Phil accepted it, and Michael went and played baseball. So did these two guys ever have a conversation, best to your knowledge, to try and keep this band together in the manner that Jordan said he would have been willing to do?
No, I don't think that ever happened.
Why?
I don't think they had the meeting. I think it was over. And as a fan, if you switch on the fan there, that's a shame. That's a shame that they weren't able to play until they lost. But it just was. I think the situation had so much pressure on it at the end. To have the so-called new coach be around the team, and have the general manager kept saying that no matter what you do, this is your last year. It's kind of hard to get past that. You know what I mean? It's hard to work under those circumstances. I give Phil Jackson so much credit for keeping that team together with all those crazy people they had on that team. Yeah. Mainly Dennis and all the other people. To keep all these guys together and have them rally to win a championship is one of the greatest things that I've ever seen a coach do ever. Because I knew the players and I knew the coach, and I know it wasn't just anybody. When you talk about a great coach, it's usually a great manager of men. And Phil Jackson did that better than anyone. I mean, the example in Utah when Rodman went to a wrestling match and missed practice, any other coach would have probably suspended him, or an Indian would have lost the game. But at least Phil was able to make the team understand that Dennis had let him down. You really let us down. We were really trying to rally here, but we're not going to do anything about it. You let us down. You'll feel bad about it. And you realize the next night he went out and got 20 rebounds.
Unbelievable.
So he was a great, great motivator. And Michael says that one of the most important things in his whole career is that he had a coach that challenged him every single day. Challenge him to be better. Challenge him to be better. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's that's some legendary stuff.
No doubt. That's inside stuff. Hey now, how about that? Huh?
Nice.
There you go. That's the inside stuff from Ahmad Rashad.
That's right.
Hey,
wait, I have one question for you.
Okay, what do you got?
What was your time? What was your time in the 40?
Thanks for asking, Ahmad. It was 5.96 this year. 5.96 this year. Right? Or was it 5.99? I might have just beaten it. I don't know. But it was sub 6. I'm a fine wine. Sort of like that stuff that Jordan was drinking on The Last Dance. Or fun. He's drinking his tequila, right? Is that what he's doing? In that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right. What was your 40 time, Ahmad? What was your 40 time?
I ran 4.4.
Damn straight you did. Of course. That's why Bud Grant was all over you, right? Right?
It was a good time. It's been a great life. I've enjoyed every element, every day, all of it. It's all been good.
Absolutely. Hey, Ahmad, maybe we'll have you on in a couple weeks. Let's talk football. How about that? Nothing but football.
Oh, that'd be fun, Rich. I'd like that.
I'd love it too. Thanks for the call, Ahmad.
Okay.
Appreciate you
Oh,
catching
you're
up. Look, I'll reach out and you take care of yourself. Be happy and be safe.
Okay, you do the same. You do the same thing.
You got it. That's Ahmad Rashad right here on the Rich Eisen Show.
That was awesome.
So, what's Michael doing on Sunday night? Watching The Last Dance with Ahmad Rashad. And they're probably sitting there going, can you believe this guy? I mean, that's like that situation is like the iPad being handed out.
I would watch a 10-part documentary of those two watching The Last Dance.
So would I.
That was amazing. Are you kidding me? Ahmad, you coming over?
Sort of like live.
Coming over
live
8?
streaming.
All right, cool.
Live streaming. Can you believe this guy? And it would have to be, obviously, the, if you will, red band version of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I mean, the
my
trash talk that must have went on. Oh, my gosh.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, your phone calls, and then Frank Grillo will end our show. That's how we're rolling. 844-204-RICH. If you are on hold, stay on hold. If you want to chat, that's what we're going to do. It's for you. The next segment on The Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH.
I mean,
when I was a kid,
yes, sir.
Must see Saturday mornings.
Inside stuff.
NBA inside stuff.
I agree
on
with
NBC.
you.
Ahmad
That's
and
the
Willow
inside,
Bay.
That's the inside stuff.
The best.
I know.
Mine was Super Friends.
Well,
I'm kidding. Rich.
When you were younger, it was
Cartoons.
before inside stuff. No, but it was This Week in Baseball, with Mel Allen.
Yeah.
Baseball Bunch with Johnny Bench, right?
And then, of
Johnny
course,
Bench
the
do that?
NFL films showing the highlights was
Yes, those were
NFL Films presents.
Well, and Saturday
Yeah,
mornings for me in New York City was the Abbott and Costello movie of the week.
That's right. We had that.
I grew up watching
So, WWF
every
Superstars.
Abbott and Costello movie.
Hey, Abbott.
Every Abbott and Costello movie was on WPIX on Saturday mornings, and that was it. That was the stuff. Oh, yeah. Susie just texted me. Ramona Shelburne wrote about exactly what I'm talking about. She just texted me that Ramona Shelburne did an interview with Jerry Reinsdorf. July the 3rd, 1998 is when Jordan and Reinsdorf met to try and keep the thing together.
Oh, how about that?
He even remembers the day. Reinsdorf, quote, the thing nobody wants to remember during the lockout, Michael was screwing around with a cigar cutter and he cut his finger. He couldn't have played that year. He had to have surgery on the finger. So even if we could have brought everyone back, it wouldn't have made any sense. Shelburne reports Jordan contends he wouldn't have been messing around with the cigar cutter at a golf tournament in January if Reinsdorf had already secured the commitment for everyone to come back.
That's what we said yesterday.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Reinsdorf doesn't think it would have made a difference. Quote, the fact is it's pretty obvious in 1998 that Michael carried this team. These guys were gassed. But even if he could have come back with the cut finger, despite it, the other players, Kerr, Longley, Bushler, Dennis, were going to get offers that were way in excess of what they were worth. He doesn't think there's any chance in the world that Scottie Pippen would have come back on a one-year contract, quote unquote, when he knew he could have gotten a much bigger contract somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
More than once, Reinsdorf said he went to Jackson and Krause and tried to get them to mend the rift that had developed between them and spread viciously throughout the team. Reinsdorf quoted as saying, I would tell Jerry, get over it already. But Jerry was a lover scorned He was so proud of the fact that he had found Phil in the CBA, and he turned out to be a brilliant coach. That when he felt that Phil turned on him, he was not gonna like Phil again. So Reinsdorf chatty chit chat with Ramona Shelburne. I got to read this some more.
Hey, why wasn't that in the documentary?
This whole thing is. I can't even finish what. This is a great article. So Sue's texting me that during the break. So
we have some closure.
Yeah, right.
I'm joking.
Right. Back in more in a second. 844-204-RICH. Let's go to the phone lines. People have been hanging on for quite some time. Let's go to the person hanging the longest. Is that Doris in Houston, Texas? Did I read that correctly? I need to, because when I disinfect my tabletop my Lucite tabletop before the show, sometimes it leaves a little bit of a Windex smear. Is that Dory? Dory in Houston. What's up, Dory?
What's up?
Sounds like a beer commercial. What's up, Dory? What's up?
Nah, I wanted to. I'm good, man. First time caller, long time listener, and I just wanted to ask you guys.
Yes.
Just what's up with everybody getting on Michael Jordan's leadership style?
Well, he grated on a lot of people's nerves, but as I've said to you, I'm not being critical of it. We would all be much more critical of it if he didn't win 6 times. That's for sure. We excuse it with the results. I mean, this is
from the hood I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we play street ball every day, and that is one of the things that I loved about the docu-series is that it showed Michael Jordan was truly a street baller. That's how we talk. Every day to everybody that comes on the court. So, I mean, for people to be getting their panties in a bunch about how he talked to Scott Burrell and everybody else, that was mind blowing to me. I was. So, what do you guys think about that? I just want to let you know that that's just how we talk on the court every day.
I hear you, and what he said to Larry Bird after dispatching with the Pacers, it can't be uttered, certainly right here. And I didn't have an issue with it. I was waiting for episode after episode after episode for the moment where Jordan, prior to this documentary airing, saying he wouldn't be viewed as a likable guy, and we finally did get to the episodes of 7 and 8 where his leadership demeanor was placed front and center. And by the end of it, I'm like, okay, I didn't learn anything new right there. And we saw Kobe act that way too. And the issue was when Kobe was acting that way, the team was winning only 30, 35 games. But Kobe had every right to.
Everybody know, especially the athletes of today, especially who may be a little sensitive.
Yes.
That's just how it is in the hood. And Michael Jordan proved to me that's a portion of who Michael Jordan was that I never saw on TV. We never saw that side. The F-bombs, all that other stuff, trash talk he was talking to his own teammates. We never saw that. So that was refreshing to us 90s fans of basketball.
I'm glad you called, Dory. Keep our number. Don't be such a stranger. First-time listener, long-time listener, first-time caller. Appreciate that. Let's go to Otto in Park City, Utah. Otto. Are we ordering a pizza here, Otto, for this conversation? Otto?
Yeah. One bite, everyone knows the rules, right, Rich? Hey, big time, long time fan.
Attaboy. What's up?
Hey.
What's on your mind?
So, I'm going to set you straight on the pizza.
Come on.
Here.
Hold on a second. Are you really calling into the show to say you know information about the famed pizza, etc.? Are you really doing that right now?
Yeah,
okay.
It's all legit.
All right.
Breaking news.
Thank you. Okay, very good. Otto, what's on?
You've been bringing this up for years. I've been like, man, I should call, but I never thought I should, but now it's just blowing up. So
okay.
So here's the deal. It wasn't Pizza Hut because Pizza Hut would have been closed. Like during the last dance, they said it was late night, nothing was open.
Right.
Pizza Hut's closed early. Everything closes early in Park City in '97, especially in the summer.
Okay.
So the Bulls stayed at the Marriott Summer Lodge. It's a hotel kind of timeshare situation at the lower Main Street.
Okay.
And around the outside, kind of like an outdoor mall setup, part of the summer watches or retail, restaurants, stores, whatnot.
Okay.
So I was a head chef back then at a sushi restaurant called Mikado. A lot of the Bulls were in there every night eating dinner. And they were all over that retail area, but not Jordan, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in Mikado, Brian Williams was in there, and the crazy thing, he was hanging out every night with Billy Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins,
Mm-hmm.
who's obviously a Bulls fan being from Chicago. So there's a restaurant in that same setup called Lakota in the Summit Watch. And I have a friend who's a bartender there, Chris.
Yes.
And he's told a story from day one that late at night they got a call. The owner of Lakota delivered the pizza himself. I don't know if it was 2, 3, 4, 5 people. I just know the owner of the restaurant went up there that night, late night, with the pizza on. And the night before or 2 nights before, they brought $3,000 worth of alcohol up to the room in a bell cart for those guys. But, I doubt Jordan's drinking anything during the finals. So, and Chris also worked at Mikado as a server. So I've been hearing the story for years. And
so the pizza was from a local establishment in Park City, Utah. That's,
Yep.
Well, certainly if the food was somewhat suspect, Otto.
Yeah.
So
kitchen was Lakota, dirty kitchen. I'm still a chef. I still live and work in Park City.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this guy who called into the radio station saying I'm the Pizza Hut guy, I delivered it, is full of it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. So I don't know this guy.
Okay.
They were staying at the Summit Watch during the whole finals.
Okay.
And part of the reason is Park City's a half an hour from Salt Lake.
Yep.
We're at 7,000 feet elevation roughly. Salt Lake's at 4,000. And you'll see this with a lot of training, or Olympians do the same type of thing. If they're living at 7,000, they're getting acclimated to sleeping and walking around during the day at 7,000 feet. It could help them when they go on to 4,000 feet, as opposed to staying lower and going up higher.
No, it's legit. I understand it's legit where they were staying, and I know you're trying to legitimize for anybody who might think that you might not know what you're talking about. But so
this guy might have delivered a pizza on another night, but Pizza Hut would have been closed late night. And
even at 10:30 at night, that's when apparently this took place.
Oh yeah, it would have been closed. 97 in the summertime here. Everything closes early, but Lakota was more of a bar. They had food there, but they were set up as a bar with a liquor license for a bar here in Utah.
So what do you want people to know, Otto? Bottom line it for me. The story about the pizza is what? Was somebody...
It's legit.
It's legit, meaning what? That the pizza was sent to him and it just happened to be bad pizza, or was it specifically made bad?
No. It wasn't specifically made bad.
Okay.
No, the guy was like, and then, one of the investors in that restaurant is Jim Lampley in Lakota.
Somebody get Lamps on the phone right now.
Get Lamps
We have his number.
He wasn't here, but he had a house here. He was in Park City all the time. He was just an investor. The pizza could have made him sick. Anything else could have made him sick, but pizza can make you sick. And then a lot of times food poisoning is referred to as a stomach flu anyways. It's kind of all the same thing. If you have the stomach flu, it could be from bacteria or virus, but it also could just be food poisoning. So, hey man, Rich, I love you. We're the same age. Our kids are the same age. I really relate. I want to tell you one quick story.
Sure. Well, Otto, you had me at hello, literally, when you called in with this, so go for it.
I'm a masshole, born and raised in Massachusetts.
Yes.
Respect, Otto.
Brockman, I would call Brockman a maniac. He's from Maine, but whatever.
Right.
So my kid took us we go to Fenway all the time. We go early for batting practice when I'm pretty young. This is like mid-70s. So we're walking through the concourse area trying to get to our seats in the elevator up to the press boxes. There's Phil Rizzuto and a couple other guys waiting for the elevator to go up. And so we're all stopping there looking at Phil, and I'm like, hey, Phil, what's in the bag? This is mid-70s, right? He didn't even blink. $50,000 or more. You got it? You remember the commercials for the Money Bank?
Of course. The Money Store. The Money Store. The Money Store.
Yeah. Yep. You're talking about PIX all the time. Everything that commercial ran
the Money Store.
What's in the bag? $50,000 or more. So that's what he said.
I love it. Hey, Otto, stay on hold. Don't hang up just now, but we're going to put him on hold there, Mike Del Tufo. There you go. Oh my gosh, what a story that was, huh? Okay. We're now are we in the middle of the story now, Chris? Are we now in the middle of this story? Cuz are you now vetting this story right now, Chris? Is that what's happening right now? Is there a vetting of the story?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, they're vetting the story out.
Because we're journalistically sound here on the Rich Eisen Show. You're not just going to call in and say, I'm some guy from some place about some pizza that everybody's talking about without us doing our legwork. Is that legwork going on right now? Someone want to talk to me from over there? Yes or no? It's
Del Tufo's on. Del
Tufo, you're doing the legwork? Oh, God.
I was doing some legwork.
Okay.
I was a cop, so I can... I used to interrogate people.
Is it possible for you to put another person on the phone line with me while you're doing the legwork?
Yeah, I totally can. Come on, I'm with you.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go to Adam in Maryland, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back with our friend Frank Grillo. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Rich, good to be talking to you on NBCSN.
Attaboy.
And two things. I have had this fourth down level hot take in my head for a few months.
Right.
That I think, because of the truncated offseason and teams not being able to get to prepare, the Ravens might just go undefeated this year. I want to know if you think they could do that.
Oh, God. Nobody's going undefeated this year, brother. I don't think the Ravens would do that either. But I was, Chris, say for our friend Adam, in case he's unaware, and certainly for our new friends at NBCSN,
yes, sir.
Who last summer was all about Lamar Jackson?
No, Rich, I know that, and I respect you so much, sir.
You, sir. You
were there first.
Adam, this is not for you specifically. This is not for the new audience either. It's just for me to actually give myself a pat on the back right now.
Yes, you were all over it, Rich. Congratulations.
Thank you. So even with all that, I don't think we're going to see a 16-0 team again, maybe the rest of our lifetimes in the regular season. We saw it with Brady and Belichick and Randy Moss and the rest of that team. We're not seeing 16-0 again. I will say that safely.
Well, that's because there'll be 17 games coming up.
My bad. Thank you very much. Thanks for the call, Adam. Well done. Well done. Have you done your legwork? Was that a legitimate phone call?
I believe so.
We believe, yeah.
I believe it was.
So this guy who said that he was delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut might have been doing it, might have been a different night, but definitely wasn't at that time of night.
I'm thinking that they didn't, Domino's Pizza and all those
This
companies
guy was,
weren't open late, even back.
Yeah.
I mean, Otto,
no.
Our friend Otto right there sounded very legit. He knows the business. He's still there right there. You know what? We're running this down. There may have been a large, let me get this right, large, thin and crispy extra pepperoni pizza delivered to Mike. But that's not the pizza apparently in question. How about that? Let's run that one up the flagpole, Chris, okay?
Let's see what we can do.
Send that one out.
All right.
When we come back, the great Frank Grillo will be joining us. By the way, speaking of pizza, he had one on Billions this week.
He did.
By the way, am I connecting tissue on
you
this
are
3-hour
having
show?
a phenomenal. Did you get enough sleep last night? Extra sleep? Great meal?
None of the above.
Breakfast this morning? Eat your Wheaties?
None of the above.
Wow.
I'm just a segue monster right now.
You're on fire.
I'm segueing my head off.
You're ready for the NFL season.
I want to ride.
We're going from an Otto to a Grillo.
Oh my God! Like, what are we doing?
Stop. Frank Grillo when we come back. I'm connecting dots. I'm a dot connector.
I mean, this is like
You're an
Costanza
investigator today,
on
Rich.
steroids.
Spotting dimes.
Rich, you are CSI today.
Yeah. You won't get fooled again. Don't play it.
No, we won't.
By the way, if we could play,
there's so much good stuff.
Commercial music, is that what it's called? Or
yeah,
I would love to just do we finish our Last Dance conversations on? I'm not done, by the way. We got to keep going.
No
here.
way. This is
all right, because now Ramona Shelburne just gave us a new news cycle with the conversation with Jerry Reinsdorf, right?
I smell a first-hour guest tomorrow.
So, do we finish it off with John Tesh?
It's standing by.
Do we finish it off? No. Can't press Tony play
Friday or do I?
Friday with John Tesh about round ball rock and how. What did John Tesh think of the Last Dance?
I would love every Friday with John Tesh.
Like if you realize how epic that when he made that it was going to be.
Well, yeah, you heard the thing about him. Like, he left himself a
message, right?
He came up with it in the middle of the night. He was out of the country and left himself a voice message.
It's amazing.
On his answering machine.
That's it. We're getting Tesh. We're getting John Tesh.
All right.
I mean, we grew up with him in New York. He was on TV every
Let's get John Tesh. Round Ball Rock.
Round Ball Rock.
My God. That is the theme of The Last Dance. How did that not get played once during The Last Dance?
Because some other place has it now.
Tell me Fox wouldn't let them use it.
Fox owns it now.
Wouldn't let him
But
use
Fox wouldn't let it be used. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
I'm not going to.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. That's theirs
Connecting
now.
dots.
They own it now.
That
You buy the rights, you call up, and they're like,
Tesh
nope.
is printing money.
Oh, yeah.
By
On
the
a
way,
song he made like 30 years ago.
I just said those words into a microphone.
It's probably one of the first songs to get used for 2 different networks for 2 different leagues.
It's the greatest.
So what's going on with Frank Grillo? Is he calling us? Do we call him? I'm noticing phone lines lighting up and then they go away.
Frank's person is getting him to call in now.
Come on, Frank. You know what he's doing?
He's painting.
Working out. There's no question.
Yep.
He's doing ab
definitely
work.
working out.
He's doing ab work. And
How old is Frank?
doesn't matter. He's literally 5 years old when it comes to he doesn't look
He's 54.
Why not?
He's my age? No.
Where are you going? Is that a walk-off where you say Grillo's age and he's walking off?
Done. 54.
All right, we're back in a second. Rich, number to dial. Frank Grillo of Billions calling in shortly. My wife, Suze, sent me this article Ramona Shelburne just posted moments ago. It looks like she chatted with Jerry Reinsdorf, and that Jerry Reinsdorf told her he remembers the date, July the 3rd in 1998, where Jerry Reinsdorf spoke to Michael Jordan about potentially running it back. Don't say anything now, Reinsdorf said. He told Jordan, we're in a lockout. We don't know how long this lockout is going to go. Let's get to the end, and maybe I can talk Phil back into it. Maybe after. Maybe he'll change his mind. So don't say anything. Called it a Hail Mary attempt. Then he asked Phil to come back. He says no this time. No, he says no, it's time, and that's the expression he used, it's time. And that was it. And Ahmad Rashad said earlier, Michael and Phil never had the conversation? How's that possible? Crazy. What a show we've had so far. And joining us, just a delight seeing him in one of my favorite television shows, because it's always a delight having my fellow native New Yorker on this program. He's Frank Grillo back here on the show, and he's on Billions, and his character finally made it on air this week, and I can't wait to see where this goes. How are you, Frank?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
Well, we took a wager here because we know that you were supposed to be on 20 minutes ago, and we'll take you anytime we can get you, that you were doing ab work. That's what
I was running late at the my boxing coach came late.
You see,
and
you see,
so I was yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny because there's a conversation about pizza and Jordan ate a pizza and all that stuff, and we saw. That was his flu game stuff. And we saw this past week that you and Bobby Axelrod, kind of made a deal together over pizza. And it's funny, I watched that show with my wife, Susie, and you know what she said to me, Frank, as you were eating the pizza? I bet that's the only pizza Frank Grillo's eaten in the last 20 years.
Well,
that's what she said.
Let me give you a little insight on the pizza.
Yes, sir.
It was paleo pizza. I made them get me paleo pizza. It was almond crusted pizza, and I got to tell you, they weren't happy about it. They weren't happy about it.
You are
aesthetically, it doesn't really look like pizza, but we made it work.
So, are you that high maintenance about your diet that you told the makers of Billions, you told Koppelman and Levine and the rest of them, I need an almond crusted pizza to eat here in the scene.
No, listen, I don't want to risk getting a tummy ache while I'm shooting, possibly gas. Possibly something that's, you know what I mean? So I got to stick with the diet, buddy.
So you're doing it not just for your body, but for others around you. You're doing it because you're a good.
Because I'm altruistic.
You're an ensemble actor. That's what you're saying.
I'm not, and I'm going to fire my agents for putting me on TV. But anyway.
It's a great show, man.
No,
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I think I did like 8 episodes before the whole world collapsed. And
right.
And it's really fun. It's a cool little role, something different for me. It's I didn't kill anybody or so it was great. And I actually have a love interest eventually.
Oh,
which nobody ever let me go near women. So that's also fun. Yeah,
well, I'm assuming that is the love interest a longtime character on the show, Frank?
Yes, she is.
Is it Wendy Rhodes, Frank? Because that would be quite a crossing of the streams. Frank?
I don't know. You're going to have to watch the program. As my grandmother would say, watch the program.
Watch the program.
Watch the program.
Okay, because that would be.
It is good. It is good because I and I hate talking about acting, but I start out as this guy who's got he can't be bought. He can't be bought. And,
right.
There's that old thing that everybody has a price, and it kind of goes down a path that looks obvious, and then those two guys that write that show switched it up.
Can you paint in real life, Frank? You play an accomplished painter.
I do paint.
Okay.
And I have a painting that I did that's hanging up in my living room. I live in Venice now by myself.
Okay.
That's a whole other story we won't get into.
Right.
And so, yes, I've been painting a lot. I paint with my boys, too.
Okay.
I got a bunch of canvases around the house, and we always kind of we screw around with the paint.
Can I commission you to paint something, Frank?
I'm available for gardening, for anything, because acting seems to have gone away.
Well, here's the thing, Frank, is because, just like Bobby Axelrod, I can help name your price. Chris, can you hold up the photograph that I'd like Frank to...
Sure can. Yep.
It's of me running behind my dog on the beach in the surf, Frank. Can you...
Mr. Rich Eisen, I thought we got rid of that photo.
No, I know it's your favorite, Frank. So could you paint this for me on commission? What do you think?
Could I ever? And by the way, for you, buddy, it's family and friends rate.
All right.
Just to let me get my hands on that picture.
Yep. Frank, I know you love it so much. You talked about it every single time you've been in here. And I think your favorite part about it is my running style. I think.
It's your running style. It's as we in the sports world like to call your gait.
All right. So I'm. By the way, I'm deadly serious to have you paint this. Okay.
I'm deadly serious.
Fantastic.
Now, would you like that in cubism or abstractism?
Frank,
is there
you know what, Frank? Your interpretation. I'm not really, in any way, shape, or form demanding. I want you're the artist. It's your vision. It's your eye. And I just want to make sure that you're just, eating paleo pizza before you do it, so I can get the best finish. That's amazing. That is so funny.
I'm pacing around my house.
Yes.
Now picture this.
Yes.
I'm pacing around my house in very small underwear. My running shoes.
Why is that detail necessary?
You mean, are you hold on a second. I am mandated. It's my job to ask questions. You mean right now? Like right now?
I saw myself in the mirror. I'm wearing army fatigue patterned, almost bikini-like underwear. I don't know where I got these from. And I'm in my running shoes still and black socks.
Okay.
Too bad I couldn't send you a photo of this.
I mean, seriously, I don't know if, again, it's up to you. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
Are you shirtless too, Frank? I mean, is it really that's all you're wearing?
I am absolutely just in my skivvies.
All right, you let your freak flag fly in any way you want, Frank Grillo. That's the way we're tight like that, I guess. Oh God! So have you watched any of this Last Dance stuff or no? You've been
Watch
just
the whole thing, man. I am obsessed. You can't create a better story than that.
Right. I know.
And just I'm so disgusted and I'm so mad. You know how I felt about Brady. You watch Jordan and those guys, and you're like, wow, am I even a man? Am I a man? What am I?
Well, I think you just told us where you're walking around the house. I think you are, Frank.
Oh, man.
I think you answered that question, quite frankly. But no, I don't know if you watched it the same way I did, which is to see like the trivia answer, the guy who Jordan eliminated the most, Patrick Ewing, the number of times that he stood in the Knicks' way. It was, it just rekindled all my anger and disappointment.
I know.
You know,
I mean, come on, Patrick Ewing, one of the greatest players that has no ring from the Knicks.
I agree. Of course. Right. I mean, you could even say not from the Knicks, just period. But everybody. He got everybody. Jordan got everybody. You know, Karl Malone, Clyde, he got everybody.
Amazing. I didn't, you know, again, you forget because he's been gone for a minute.
Right.
How spectacular and special he was. You really do.
Did you go to the Garden those years, Frank? Were you in the Garden all those years when you were watching that, or no? Did you go to the Garden?
I went to the Garden some years, yeah. But what's his name? The Worm. He was great too. Forgot how great he was.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been watching that. I that's what I've been doing the last few Sundays is watching that and then going for Billions as soon as it's over.
Man.
I love that show, Frank. I'm so excited to see what you're going to do in that show and what where it's going to all go. What do you think of the return of UFC? What do you think of that?
You know, did you watch it? Did you watch Tony Ferguson get beat up?
I saw it. I didn't watch it live, but I did subsequently see it.
Yeah, I saw it. First of all, the sound, it was like somebody had a baseball bat and they were hitting a pig. It was like the sound, the crackle of the punches were interesting. But you know, listen, it's better than having nothing on television.
You know, I know he was supposed to fight Khabib, whose dad apparently is really in bad way with COVID plus. So I know he was supposed to fight Khabib, and I guess that's a good fight that we're going to see. But so you were locked in?
I don't know that happens now. I don't know that it's that good of a fight anymore because, you know, the sheen has been taken off of Ferguson. So, you know, I don't think Ferguson comes back the same fighter. I really don't.
Who's the best fighter, do you think, in UFC? What do you got for me, Frank? The one guy you would... The one that you would
all around?
Correct. The one who you would pay Frank Grillo dollars to put down on any sort of pay-per-view that you say, I will watch this person fight. Doesn't matter. Weight class doesn't matter. Who is that fighter?
You know, I have to tell you, before this fight, it was Ferguson.
Huh.
Yeah, it was Ferguson. I really wanted to see him fight Khabib. And because Khabib, you know, albeit he has a good chin, he doesn't have the greatest stand-up game. And Ferguson is just so well-rounded. And doesn't gas. I mean, he's a spectacular athlete. So who knows? You know what? I still love Conor McGregor for all the other reasons. You know, it doesn't matter that he gets beat. He's just very important to the sport.
No doubt about it. All right, Frank. Can't wait to see more of you on Billions. Again, that's Showtime Sunday nights, 9 Eastern time. Very much looking forward to that. I am going to photograph this photograph, and I really want you. I want you to commission it, and however you want to paint it, we'll put it up here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. And I say this with the ultimate of respect and love. Put some clothes on, will you, please? Put something on. Take care of yourself, Frank.
All right, great talking.
Yeah, same here. It's Frank Grillo, the one and only.
That guy's a legend.
Put something on, Frank. I can't wait to say, Susie, again, Susie said to me, he's eating the pizza. I bet you that's the first pizza he's had in the last 20 years, or he's never eaten a pizza. She said that. So I throw that out there. Talk about high maintenance. Talk about you think it's in his contract, in his rider? I cannot eat anything with gluten.
Probably. I mean, that guy probably hasn't had a carb.
Because it did look like, it did look like, you know, one of those frou-frou fancy gourmet pizzas.
It wasn't like a slice from Vito's. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, please, come on now. Isn't that normally the pizzeria? Didn't he have like doesn't Bobby Axelrod have like an old school pizzeria that he's associated with? I didn't know that he had.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they created some new fancy gourmet pizzeria just because Frank asked for that non-gluten pizza.
That scene, he had the chef in that apartment that he bought for Frank.
Right.
So it's like, I guess he just kind of whipped it up.
Just to go down really quick down a Billions wormhole here. It sure looks like the great Maggie Siff, Wendy Rhodes. Crossing the streams here. Bobby's going to bring a painter into the world, and that's how Chuck's going to get really pissed off.
Yep.
Paul Giamatti's kind of, oh, this is great.
This season is
It's going to be great. It's fun. Our final poll results over there, Christopher. What's our final poll question results in our pop culture poll for the day at
31st anniversary of Roadhouse's release. Guys, what's your favorite Patrick Swayze movie? It was close. Roadhouse and Point Break, neck and neck. Point Break takes it 40% to 37%.
This is gonna be a stirring conclusion to the Rich Eisen Show. I've never seen Roadhouse beginning to end, and I've never seen Point Break. Period.
Oh.
Facts.
I mean, I wish I could say you're fired and you're out. But
Why?
we all kind of need you
Why
here.
would I? Why would I?
Why would you not see either of these? I haven't
Point
seen
Break.
either of them this week. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I have never seen Roadhouse beginning to end. Like seriously, like credits up, credits gone. I've weaved in and out.
Homework assignment.
Is it really?
It's a phenomenal movie.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yes. Both.
You would call it phenomenal.
Roadhouse?
Roadhouse, epic.
And Point Break. Both.
All right.
My goodness.
Hey,
Rich Eisen.
I just shoot you straight here. I shoot you straight, and I know
What
I've been
were you
having.
doing in the 90s?
What do you mean? What was I doing in the 90s? You saw me on SportsCenter. I was trying to get to SportsCenter, and then I got to SportsCenter. I was working.
He was, yeah.
You were on the 2 a.m. shift. I mean, there was a lot of hours in the day to see Roadhouse and Point Break.
I was working.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, back then you had to go to the store to get a rental.
But who were your
I'm
friends
rich.
that let you get away with
wasn't
not
as easy.
seeing these
What
movies?
a show! Look, I don't want to end this show on a bad note because I've been spotting
That's it, we're
dimes, I've
breaking
been
up, and we're
segueing, I've been
not telling
connecting
anyone.
dots.
That's it.
I think we advanced
is it.
the pizza story.
Yes.
Our friend Otto, we advanced the pizza story here. We're running down. We're running down the leads.
I'm going.
We're running down the leads. Jeff Passan, Rod Thorne, Will Forte, Ahmad Rashad, and Frank Grillo, who I hope is wearing something now. Probably. Matt Patricia, Lions head coach, is on tomorrow's show, and all three Watt brothers, JJ, TJ, and Derek Watt, who's got a new Ultimate Tag show on Fox that's going down on Wednesday night. We'll see you then.